Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. It seems Mother Nature's got a bit of a sense of humor this morning, and first day of spring, and we're getting a snowstorm. Luckily, it's nothing too bad. And this won't be super long stream, I don't think. We're expecting kind of the heaviest precipitation late morning into early afternoon. There will be residual snow throughout the day, but yeah, again, not expecting a ton, so I'll kind of go over everything. But Mother Nature definitely has a sense of humor today with being first day of spring and we're getting a snowstorm. So welcome to the chat, everybody. Again, if you're new, I'm Tom, obviously, and we'll go through what we're expecting and how road conditions look. I'll bring up some radar and we'll kind of chat about that. So let's bring that right up now. This is the current radar as we see it here. So we've got some snow moving into the area. Nothing heavy as of right now, as far as radar is concerned. So we're seeing that the precip is tucked in along the Ottawa River near Renfrew, Shawville, and Arnprior, and then back to the west of Ottawa, so west of Perth, down to kind of Belleville, Kingston area, and it is coming from the west. So we'll kind of go through a couple things. We'll go through the warnings, what the expectations are, and all that kind of stuff. So again, I'm not expecting anything too crazy. You can see the precipitation down towards Toronto is definitely far more significant than it is currently in eastern Ontario. So I'll play the radar down by King City, and you can kind of see the motion on this storm. It's more in a southeast trajectory. And so this is kind of drifting southeast, moving across the lake. It is pushing into eastern Ontario a little bit, but our precipitation is going to come sort of from the northwest. So I'll play this as well so you can see the radar affecting eastern Ontario. It's moving in a little bit more easterly fashion. So we'll see how that is. But most of the precipitation should stick to the Ontario side of the game. Western Quebec not going to get a ton according to models and what we're seeing. So that's kind of where the game is at today for precipitation and where it's headed. So we're still early on. That's why I didn't jump on first thing this morning. Definitely wasn't expecting much for the morning commute in the region. And then you know, even by this afternoon, evening, we probably, the snow, most of it will be very light, if at all. So we're just going to monitor this. We'll go through this. And again, I don't expect this to be a very long stream today, but we're going to just kind of run through things and keep you guys up to date and kind of give you road conditions and that kind of stuff. So give me 1 second here. I will flip this off, and so we'll look where it's been kind of snowing for a little bit. I know there's one here in Arnprior, so I'm just going to pull up one of our road cameras here, see if that's got an updated picture. So that's 9:01. That's 20 minutes old, so obviously not accurate. Nothing here yet. I know it's snowing up there. I'm going to see if the Renfrew cam has been updated and see what time. So there you go. This is kind of what we're expecting. So snow-covered roads, very light, but reduced visibility is the biggest thing here right now. Nothing out of the ordinary. This is normal winter conditions for us. But if you're going to be traveling, this is what you can kind of expect. You can see that on this particular screen grab, the snowflakes are pretty heavy at this point as this went through. So there are pockets of heavier precipitation, but that's up in the Renfrew area. So again, we're early on, but if you're new to the channel, I'm just going to explain what the radar is showing here. This basically, anything that you see in the green to the very light green and almost into the light blue there is very light snow. When you start getting into the yellow pixels, which there's very few out there right now, but those are those heavier bands of snow or precipitation. That's where you're going to see what I was just showing you, like on that Arnprior cam, where we have some yellow pixelation in there, so heavier density of precipitation. Sorry, that was the Renfrew cam. I apologize. That's this that moved through. But basically the yellow to when you get into orange, you're really getting into that higher end precipitation. So if we take a look back at the Toronto radar, you can see the difference in the level of precipitation that's happening. They're around the 0 degree mark. So let's just take a look at a camera down there, and you can see there's no snow. It's rain basically at this point. I don't even think it's freezing rain. So definitely a different story kind of southwest of us, which is usually the case. I'm going to take a look near Stratford, and again, just rain. So no real major impact down in southern Ontario or southwest of us. At this point, temperatures do start to climb above the freezing mark when you get kind of east of Toronto or the GTA area. I'm just going to have a look here on the cameras on Bowmanville. Still showing, looks like slushy on the road though. I can see grooves in that pavement. So this is very wet precipitation in terms of freezing rain or snow or, you know, that kind of thing based on that image there. Sorry, give me a sec here. Let me try and pick another camera further up. So here they are getting snow. So as soon as we get away from the lakeshore of Lake Ontario, you're definitely seeing a little more of that freezing precip. I'll take a look at 115, one of the roads up to between Peterborough, and here you start to see the snow. So this is what we're expecting to kind of come our way. Again, lighter precipitation, significantly lighter here in Eastern Ontario currently. We are expecting the heavier precipitation, late morning, early afternoon, kind of a window where there could be some heavier precip for the region. I'll kind of draw out a plan here. Let me just, whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me right click here and move this around. So I'll put it actually at the bottom. We're kind of, models are showing that the precipitation cutoff, meaning that any kind of significant accumulation is going to be somewhere along this line. And this could shift kind of northeast or southeast, but our expectations for the most amount of snow, and again, we're only talking 5 to 10 centimeters, was kind of down in this quadrant down here, down by the lakeshore, down by Belleville. It could be ice pellets mixed in with snow, and significantly less accumulation than up here. Again, we're talking less than 10 centimeters for most people that are in this kind of quadrant. The down by Belleville and closer to the Lake Ontario shoreline on the north side, again, maybe a couple centimeters, 2 to 5 is kind of in that neighborhood, but that's roughly what they're looking at. But that's kind of a synopsis of what we're expecting to see. Again, there will be light flurries to the north of that line, but I'll bring up also the Environment Canada special weather statements they have here. So these were put out, this was updated 5 hours ago. It's saying snow heavy at times is expected. They're calling for 5 to 10 throughout the region, and it's a pretty large area. But the peak snowfall rates, where we're talking 2 to 3 centimeters an hour, which if you do the math there, a very significant amount of the snow will fall within a few hour window, 3-hour window type thing. So it's not an extended event again. And we're not expecting a lot. This is nothing to write home about compared to, for example, Sudbury, what they just went through when we had all those power outages and high winds the next day. The night before, they were just getting buried, and we were kind of monitoring that on our live stream. Sudbury definitely got a lot of snow. So no expectations of anything out of the ordinary today, and just wanted to keep people kind of up to speed. I'll jump there in the chat. I know there's a lot of questions and comments, so I'll jump in that shortly. So that's what Environment Canada is showing for a very large portion of Eastern Ontario, basically all the way back to Parry Sound. This gray line that you see at the top here that then goes up to Mattawa and comes down the Ottawa River Valley into Ottawa, all the way through Eastern Ontario, and then along the St. Lawrence Seaway. Where it differentiates on the Ontario side is down by Belleville, Prince Edward County. They are now calling for, again, I believe, risk of freezing rain, ice pellets, and 2 to 5, so significantly less than up here. So that's what they're calling for down in that region. Again, that extends all the way back to Peterborough, west of Peterborough, I guess to the edge of the GTA. And then there is another warning here. This is a freezing rain warning coming in, and this is basically 2 to 5 millimeters of accretion buildup, so ice buildup, and that is kind of northwest of Toronto, kind of covering Newmarket, Vaughan, Orangeville, and then all the way up to Kincardine and Port Elgin in that area. So that's all to do with freezing rain coming through. Again, you can see the temperatures. They're right around that 0 mark, -1, that type of thing, where we're, Kemptville right now is -3, for example, Bancroft -4, so we're a little cooler to the east. I will highlight also on the Quebec side, they've put out a warning. Special weather statement, and they're basically talking about reduced visibility with snowfall rates up to 2 centimeters per hour, and they're calling for this up until 5 p.m., but that's covering a very large area. So from west, it goes from the edge of Deep River, essentially. So I'm just looking what town is, there's none. Anyways, across the river from Deep River on the Quebec side, heading all the way down through the Ottawa, through north of Ottawa, Casabasua, Low, Quebec, all that stuff, all the way to Montreal. So that's a significant area. So that 5 p.m. time frame, obviously take that with a grain of salt, because it won't apply the same for the western portion of that warning versus the eastern one. So anyways, so that's kind of a synopsis of what we're dealing with today. Again, nothing too serious, and I'm glad Mother Nature's sense of humor isn't too bad, because everybody's looking forward to spring, and we've had this on and off summer weather, winter, like a light switch, basically. So it's been teasing with us and playing with us, and we're a lot of people are probably getting frustrated with it. But anyway, so just going to jump into the chat here, just say hi to everybody, and just jump on any questions. If you do have any questions about anything weather related or what's going on today, just put them in the chat. I'll do my best to jump on them. Usually I can get to most questions and address them. So it's very much, if you're new here, it's kind of a community type thing where we just talk about what's going on, and I try to put my 2 cents in as far as what my expectations are. Connor's the other gentleman that's on the stream. Usually he's not today. He's working at his other job, so it's going to be just me for the day. And again, I don't expect this to be a super long stream today, so thank you for joining us, and let's jump into it. So Reed Gutzman, all the way from Arnprior, good to see you, saying light snow started at 8:30 a.m. up in the Arnprior area. Sharon Savoie saying good morning, Brockville, no snow here yet. That's good to hear. It's right on your doorstep. If I zoom in here with our radar, Brockville being down here at the bottom in the center of the screen, that precipitation is just starting to edge in there. So little bit down by Belleville, the intensity is picking up. We're starting to see that yellow pixelation that I was talking about. So Picton, Belleville, Napanee, starting to see a little bit heavier precipitation. I don't think the cameras will have picked up on this. This is at 9:20, so 11 minutes ago, and you can see the size of the snowflakes, but still no real major accumulation on the highway. Probably a little bit slippery at this point, especially that's 10 minutes old. So just keep that in mind. But that's what's going down by the 401. What else is here? Freezing rain in Mississauga coming from Armchair Observer. Thank you. So we were just discussing that potential down there. So that's my least favorite form of precipitation. So I don't envy you down there in the Mississauga area. Hopefully it's not too bad. 2 to 5 millimeters shouldn't be terrible. And especially later on, the temps might warm up enough that it melts it off type thing. So just, take it easy if you are going out in the GTA area and northwest of there. Roads could, especially once you get out of the urban areas, it could not be fun on the roads down there. So Courtney Spicer saying snow has started in Lanark and Carleton Place towards Ottawa on Highway 7. Yes, so that is that edge of that precipitation. So thank you for that update. You can kind of see, and I'll play the radar here, as it marches kind of towards us in the Ottawa area or Eastern Ontario area. You can see as that radar is approaching. So this is live radar. This is not a forecast model or a future cast, as some of the places call it. We just show what's actually happening, not kind of predictions, that kind of stuff. So what else have we got here? Jennifer tuning in from Guelph. Cool. Raining in Guelph, leaving ice bumps on the ground, but regular rain falling. Freezing rain when it hits the ground. So definitely not nice weather to the west or southwest of us. And then Kathleen also coming in saying the same thing from Stouffville, freezing rain down there as well. So lots of reports of the freezing rain just around southern Ontario, GTA area, and further southwest from there. So Roddy Man, good to see you. Been snowing in Pembroke for the last hour and a half, heavy at times with about 5 centimeters so far. So Pembroke already showing some decent accumulation. Thank you for that update. I've got one camera I can check out there. So this is the Petawawa cam on Highway 17. So you can definitely see that road conditions deteriorated pretty quickly. And there's definitely some accumulation on the highway up there. Visibility not so good. So we're going to see where some areas get, snow and significant amounts of snow at times, and other areas won't see anything in terms of heavy snow. So it's very spotty or isolated at this point. So I'm just going to check. Also, we have our camera network that we're deploying. So I'm going to bring this up. This is in Carleton Place right now. Let me share this up on the screen so you can see how big those snowflakes are. So this is just moving into Carleton Place, and quickly those roads are changing. So this is one of our new live weather cams. Unfortunately, it has a lot of power lines in it, but there's nothing we can do about views. But it's a fantastic location for us to be able to see stuff like this. So anybody who's just joining the channel and hasn't been here before, we are building our own camera network throughout the region, and we want to grow that eventually outside of Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec. So we have great people who are supporting the platform, who host the cameras. We install the equipment for the most part. And this is what helps us to look live rather than a still image off of 511, which was one of the biggest frustrations for us. So you can see what's happening in Carleton Place. And oops, let me take that down. I apologize for that. That's from the last stream. So you can see, I'm going to just pause this or on the radar and show you guys the still image. So this is Carleton Place as this snow is coming in. So you can see on that green, when you look back at the weather cam, that's what you can expect in terms of snowfall. So conditions will change fairly quickly, but hopefully not be too terrible today. So that again, is in Carleton Place as well. So I'm here in Kemptville, and I'll show you the contrast here. This is what it looks like at my house. So nothing happening here out front of the Canadian Weather Live studios, and so we'll see. That will definitely change throughout the morning here, but we'll be able to show you guys when we see changing conditions if we get that on our cameras. And it is starting to move into the Ottawa area as well. I do have a camera in the Nepean area, so I'll bring that up as well. So this is the Nepean camera, and you can see it's starting to snow there. Very light accumulation on the ground, but some chunkier flakes there as well. So it's starting to move into the region, but again, will be sporadic, and we're not expecting the heavier stuff till later on. So that's kind of what's taking place right now throughout Eastern Ontario, and we're going to be deploying more cameras once the weather gets a little better. I can get back out and do some more installations. We'll get some more cameras up. We've got one hopefully going up in Arnprior, another one in Perth. I've got another one in Orleans area going up, and we've got a whole map that we're laying out. So even along the Ottawa River east of Ottawa, we've got a potential one. So we're working on that as we go along here, just so that we can get you guys more accurate information, with those cameras rather than still images. So what else have we got here? So back into the chat. Hello from Ottawa, coming from Ryan. All clear here at work. And Ryan, yeah, there's going to be some snow there shortly. I know that's an older comment, so probably at this point it might be lightly snowing where you are. Courtney Spicer saying Highway 7 getting thicker and roads are started to now to get covered near Stittsville. So as you can see, that snow moving in to the Ottawa area. So thank you for the confirmation of getting that on the ground too. So Bernice also coming in saying Smith Falls is just starting to get snow at 9:24. So thank you for that. And then what else? Sorry, comments. I know there's a lot of them, so I'm trying to get to them, folks. Just jumping around here. Good morning. Are we getting more snow in Ottawa, and when and how much? Happy to see. How are you holding up? How long will it last? Thank you always for keeping us posted. That's from Andre. So I ran through a little bit of a synopsis there, but Ottawa, I don't expect to get a ton of snow there. South of Ottawa, we were talking about that northwest to southeast line in terms of, let me see that, I'll draw it out here. So our expectations for snow precipitation, heavier to the south of this line, lighter to the north. Again, that can set up a little bit differently. That's just what the models are showing. But you can see that the snow is tucked in mostly to the south of that line currently. So we're talking 5 to 10 centimeters kind of south of the Ottawa area or southwest of the Ottawa area. North of that, probably half of that. And some places probably won't get very much at all. So it just depends if you get caught in some of these snow bands with the higher precipitation rates, because they can add up pretty quickly within a matter of minutes. So that's the key to what's going on. So Mags, good morning. Always good to see you. Happy spring. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely not a lot of fun. Ryan, yeah, I figured you were at the airport. I remember your name, and I try to remember everybody's name, but obviously there's tons of them. Saying getting some Air Canada diversions into Ottawa from YYZ, which I believe is Toronto. Somebody can correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's Toronto. So Ryan can update. It's awesome to get those updates from the airport. Epsom salt, dude. We're wet snow in Peterborough. Unfortunately, yes. Luckily, it's not freezing rain for the most part, and they just updated something here, so that's why I'm jumping on here. And I just need to know which one is the latest one. Sorry, they stack on here sometimes, so. Still saying a wintry mix is expected, freezing rain, and then 2 to 5 centimeters. So we'll see if that updates. Sometimes I get it so quick that the text doesn't populate yet. So I'll jump back to that in a minute. What else have we got here? Okay, what's going on? Good morning, Barb. What else? It's begun snowing in Smith Falls, so that's from LJ Casey. Thank you for that. Good morning. Just started light snow in Ottawa West. That's coming from Soccer Mom. Thank you for that. And again, yes, that precip is moving in. It'll be a question of how long and what's going to happen. Tornado Pro saying Mother Nature forgot to give us storms and is probably going to surprise us. And yes, you never know what's in store with weather. So Mother Nature always has a way of surprising us. So that's something you can count on when it comes to weather for sure. What else? Wondering when you see that spring weather may arrive, coming from Julia Baudouin, sorry. Van Cleek Hill area, happy spring and thank you. So yeah, I mean the spring weather unfortunately is still probably a ways off. The bad news is that late Saturday night, there's another potential for a snowstorm. So we may get a second round over the weekend. Again, it's going to be a late day event, so maybe into the overnight. Still looking at models and trying to decipher all that. So we're still a little ways off with spring at this point. End of March generally has a decent amount of snow, and that's kind of being the typical kind of Canadian winter or Eastern Ontario winter. So nothing out of the ordinary, but the last number of years have definitely been, as I call it, winter light. So what else is going on here? It's coming down at Mont Saint Marie. Happy Huskies at my house coming from Luna Bella. Thank you for that update. Good to have you on the chat as well. And snow has just started to pick up in Napanee, which I believe that comment is probably from when that heavier band was coming through. And I'll highlight that. You can see that yellow kind of explode on the radar right at the last frame here. So you can see that, you know, Prince Edward County, Napanee, kind of to the west of Kingston, definitely showing a burst of snow there in the last number of frames. This is down, this is at 9:34, so 10 minutes ago. This kind of looks like freezing rain, and again, being, or wet snow. I can't really tell, but that's kind of, you can see the temperature 0 degrees Celsius there. Let's see if we can take a look at one of the cameras on the 401. So that's the difference just in that little distance here. Definitely very large wet flakes. They still aren't accumulating on the pavement. There is some accumulation on the sides or the shoulders and the ground, but again, this is Napanee. This is going to be an older image. I'm just looking at the time here. Yeah, that's 12 minutes old. So unfortunately, that's not accurate at this point, but anywhere you see this yellow, you can consider that there's heavy precipitation in there, and with the temperatures right now, for the most part, this should be 401 and north should be snow, kind of out to the lakeshore of Ontario. It could be a mix of ice pellets, freezing rain, or even possibly rain. So when you get into that threshold of kind of getting around the freezing point, it definitely is tough to tell what's happening. And those cameras, so we were looking at them, those images are 12 to 13 to 15 minutes old. That's why we're trying to deploy these weather cams, because it gives us a more accurate representation of what's happening right in the moment, and it's not a still image. So I'll bring up, I'm just going to swing back to one of the weather cams here in Carleton Place. It's only been snowing here for, let's say, 10, 15 minutes, and you can see the white coating that's already happening. So, you know, big flakes coming down and still coming down at this point. So definitely what you can expect if you do get caught up in some of this snow. Not, you know, drive safely, drive carefully, but it's nothing that we can't handle. But definitely road conditions are going to be a little bit different than you started out the day with, for example. So okay, so let me just get back into the comments here. Storm, okay, yeah, Storm Kit is always ready here. Pets emergency kits, that's always good. Snow has just started. Okay, we've got that. Sorry. Weeping Willow Landscape. Storm started in Gatineau and Elmer, so starting to get the snow there as well, and we can see that on the radar itself, corroborating that. So yes, it's starting to march in here, but again, not super heavy as of yet. Napanee down there, you can see that band really starting to expand down by the lake. So we'll keep an eye on that area, because as that moves eastward along the 401, that's going to impact travel, you know, where we've got those heavy snow rates. So question from Brianna. Will afternoon commute be miserable in Ottawa? It's definitely going to be a lot less fun than it was in the morning. Obviously very clear in the morning, but with the snow coming through, and we're expecting this to last into late afternoon, around the 5 p.m. time for Ottawa, let's say. That's roughly what models were showing, but it will be lighter on the very different in terms of intensity on the back end of it, so significantly light. Roads will be snow covered and slick, but nothing too crazy. But that will definitely impact the travel on the afternoon commute coming out of Ottawa. So probably won't be too much fun, unfortunately. Tracy saying it's getting yucky quickly in Elmer, and yeah, you're seeing that little band come down the Ottawa River and through the Ottawa area. So that's definitely what you're experiencing right there. What else is going on here? Okay. Starting a light sprinkle here in Vanier, again coming from the Ottawa area. Same thing from Dan, snowing lightly in the downtown Ottawa area, so that precipitation has definitely moved in. We'll give the cameras a little bit of time to catch up. This is Nepean, so this is kind of near the 416, 417. You can see we were showing that earlier, and just in the matter of 10 minutes, that accumulation is starting on the ground. Snowflakes are very large, so this is that heavy snow that they were talking about for being, quick accumulation, and so it'll move in and out essentially. So you can see that on the radar, some of the bands are spotty versus other areas. So those are fantastic tools for us to be able to show you guys what's happening with the weather. So again, Carleton Place definitely getting a ton of snow coming down, moving into Nepean, Ottawa area, Smith Falls, and all the way down to the Seaway at this point. So okay, Eldon saying snow started here in Charleston Lake area, just north of Thousand Islands International Bridge, about 20 minutes ago. So that would be down in this area here. So you can kind of see as that snow's starting to move in, and there's a few of those bands that are definitely far more intense than other areas. So I'll pause the radar there and then just highlight that. So there's kind of an intense band tucked in right here, and then behind it we have this. And we've seen mixed. We've seen out on the lake or down through Prince Edward County more rain or freezing rain. And then as you move to the 401, we've had more snow and frozen precip happening. So kind of a mixed bag down by the lakeshore. But again, up this way, this all should be snow for the most part. So just monitoring that as it moves through the region. So what else? Lucille saying nothing in Kempville. Yes, it still isn't here yet. We're on the very edge of it. It should start snowing any minute at this point as this continues to march eastward on the radar and towards the far eastern parts of eastern Ontario. So you can see that approach. And just let me explain that you can see on the bottom of the radar screen, this is from 6:53 to 9:47. So it's about a 3-hour loop of the radar of what's happened as it's approached us. So this is about 3 hours of movement. So you can kind of judge on the screen how long it'll take to get to wherever you are based on that kind of time frame. So keep that in mind. What else is going on here in the chat? Devin asking wet snow falling in Belleville on and off since around 7:30. Sending salt trucks out, not thinking snow plows will be needed. I agree. Down by the 401 south of the or close to the north shore of Lake Ontario, it's definitely going to be very wet. Temperature is going to be around that freezing mark, maybe slightly above. So hopefully most of that melts for you. That won't be the same further north of the 401. I'm expecting that I'm going to have to shovel, unfortunately, at the end of the day when this comes through. And then obviously we talked briefly about Saturday night. There may be some potential for another snowstorm coming through with freezing rain on the southern end of it and ice pellets and that kind of stuff, but we'll have an update on that later on. So Megan Frost, good to see you in here from Mirabel as always. Yes, it's definitely still to your west, but it will be headed your way today, unfortunately. And it's commenting so sick of winter, and yes, that's what kind of inspired that thumbnail that I put up on the YouTube channel today. Just people, spring is here officially based on the calendar, but not according to Mother Nature. So, and it's typical. We do get snow after it officially is spring, but we'll fight through it. Luckily, it's not a lot. And again, it's nothing, this is nothing serious at this point. It's more to let you guys know where travel conditions are not going to be fun. Obviously, as the snow moves through the region, it's going to deteriorate those road conditions. So what else have we got here? Debbie Smith coming in saying, just started snowing in Brockville, very light flurries on that leading edge of that precipitation as it moves in. Lucille, also Oxford Mills, kind of south of Kempville area, same thing, just very light snow. I'm just monitoring my camera here and I can bring that up. So it has just started snowing at my house, so you can barely see, I mean, you can see the snowflakes actually, you should be able to. So that has just literally started. So that will continue here, and we've got a little bit of accumulation already starting to happen. So this is, we were sitting in around -3 at this point, so I don't expect a lot of thaw happening with this, and again, unfortunately, we'll have to shovel. So that's the camera just outside my studio. What else have we got here? Light snow here in Manotick too, coming from Bijou. So again, on that leading edge. And then Sean Murphy saying snowing in Mayo, Quebec. Thank you for that. And Rockland has just started on the snow as well. So the whole region is starting to get in on the game. And again, depending where you are, some of it may be light and some of it may be significantly heavier. Again, down here you can see the intensity of this snow band, which out on the closer to the lake itself is actually coming down as rain probably. So definitely a mix down there. But again, yellow is that moderate level of precipitation. Green is kind of on the lower end, and light green gets to the very bottom end of that scale. If we ever start to see orange, orange and then even reds in the summertime, that's just higher precipitation intensity. But let me just look here. Sorry, I want that. There we go. I was going to say it's not minimizing for me. So we can see that when I'm talking about that orange, that's heavier precipitation. That's all in the southwest of GTA and, you know, kind of in that area. So far more precipitation out that way than there is here in Eastern Ontario, just to kind of show you guys what's going on. Okay. Lake time, good to see you. Snowing heavy in Clayton area, so thank you for that update. Always good to see you on the chat. And now snowing in Carlington, part of Ottawa, coming from Mags, thank you for that. And Russell area getting in on the snow too. So you can see if I zoom in here, that green is starting to reach out towards Castleman, Russell, Metcalfe, Manotick, Navan, and it's kind of moving along the river here towards Montebello, eventually getting into Grenville, Hawkesbury, Lachute area. And then again in Kempville, it has just started snowing, so Winchester will get in on it. Then it's going to kind of along the 401, I guess, we're into the Ogdensburg, Prescott area, and then moving into Morrisburg, kind of towards Cornwall. So, excuse me, the area is starting to get blanketed with some decent precipitation. And again, not anything too crazy as far as this is expected for the most part, but those areas with the yellow highlights on the radar are definitely heavier bands that you need to pay attention to. This is an old image, unfortunately. And again, my frustration, that's like that's 23 minutes old. Let's see if I can find something a little more current. That's on the very edge of it. So let me see, I'll go back here. There's a couple of cameras that we can maybe look at. So this is a little more current. This is 9:46, still a 10-minute old image, but you can see that gross precipitation, very wet, heavy snow coming down, starting to make those lanes slick on the 401. So just not fun when you go through that heavier band of snow. So just pay attention and it should be fine. I'm just going to look actually at the roads here. Bear with me for a second. So far, I don't see anything too bad. I'm just looking at the map overall. Still not anything too intense. I'll bring this up kind of east of Ottawa, so let me share this with you guys. So this is Ottawa back here, Kingston down there. These are the back roads or back highways where we've been getting the snow all morning, and you can see those slowdowns are there. Nothing majorly impactful, but that's the the slowdown areas. Highway 7 getting a few little slowdown spots. And then Highway 115 coming south out of Peterborough looks to have a bit of a slowdown just with yellow on both sides. 401 fairly clear for now, green all the way around, and then all the way through the Ottawa area for the most part is green with the odd little slowdown just because the precip has just moved into the area. So that will change throughout the day. And again, we're only about 9:57 this morning, so still very early in the day in terms of any kind of impact with that kind of stuff. So let me just take a quick look back here into the chat. What else have we got here? Just trying to get back into the dumb couch tour, DMB couch tour. Sorry, I say dumb couch tour because I just immediately short form that. But DMB couch tour, do you think of this will all melt tomorrow? It's not really going to melt. Temperatures, and I forgot to look. I know, again, I've talked about Saturday. I just wanted to see what the temps will be tomorrow. So we're calling, so above zero tomorrow, Ottawa area, Kemptville, potential for like +3, 4, 5. So it will melt, but it's a question of how much you get. If you get 10 centimeters, I don't think that's going to melt at all. But if you get only a few centimeters, then yes, it's definitely going to end up melting. So it depends where you are, but it will help things. But then again, Saturday night, we're expecting another snow potential, so we'll keep an eye on that, and again we will update you guys as we move throughout the weekend. If there's a reason to be on, we'll jump on and keep people up to date, kind of thing. So LMM saying light snow now downriver from you, so thank you for that update. Again, I'm around the Kemptville area, so just to keep people up to speed. I'm noticing our Winchester cam now has some snow starting to fall, so this is in Winchester itself, so you can see again that leading edge of the snow making its way east of me and Kemptville here as it marches kind of eastward. So starts out like this. This is what it looks like. The earliest cam we had it on here was this Carleton Place camera. You can definitely see that the snow is starting to accumulate, still continuing to snow in Carleton Place. Here in Nepean, we have that other camera that we were looking at, again, snow starting to accumulate there. So that's kind of what we're experiencing throughout the region. Kemptville here, you can see just a light dusting on the ground. Some of it is melting because they pre-treated some of the sidewalk and that kind of stuff, but again, nothing of any significance at this point throughout the day. But we are expecting kind of southwest of Ottawa, as we've mentioned on that line, 5 to 10 centimeters, and then the disparity would be down by the lakeshore, just in terms of the warmer temps and possibly coming in as freezing rain or even ice pellets. So that's where where things might differ a little bit. So what else is coming down here? So let me look in the chat, make sure I catch up here. Veronica just saying nothing in Cardinal, and it can stay that way, please. I wish that was the case, but marching from your west or to your west is a bunch of snow coming your way. So bad news is it's going to get a little bit snowy in Cardinal, which, if anybody's not familiar, Cardinal down by the 401, just kind of east of the 416 interchange with the 401. That's where Cardinal is, and you're just getting on the edge of it. So I suspect it's probably snowing at your place a little bit at this point. Luna Bella saying fast accumulation at Mont Saint Marie. Snowplows imminent for highway. Thank you for that update. What else have we got here? Snowing good in Peterborough. So it sounds like to our west. I'm going to take a look at the radar because I know we do have quite a few viewers from that region. So we'll pull that up and you can kind of see that intensity of that precipitation. To the southwest of Peterborough, those cameras were definitely showing a decent amount of snow. This is about a 12-minute old image. One lane is clear in terms of the groove, but the fast lane is snow covered. So most people traveling single file out that way, but let's take a quick look at some more cameras just to see. Definitely getting closer to the lakeshore. There's no time. I can't read the timestamp on this one, so I'm not sure how old this image is, unfortunately. I think it says 9:58, so that's about 3 minutes old. So not accumulating. Maybe the surface was a little more pre-treated down that way. I know we do have some more cameras somewhere along here. I think this may be the one I looked at, but I'm not sure. No, so this one here, this is a different one on the 115 heading towards or away from Peterborough, depending which direction, but less accumulation here than the northern camera. So there's a difference. Where's that other camera hiding? So I've got one camera up here, and this is the other one that we were looking at earlier, and you can see significantly more snow sticking to the roadway up here away from that lakeshore, and that just has to do with temperatures. Again, down here we're talking 0 degrees Celsius, and then closer to Peterborough -1, and that's the difference essentially. So same thing for our region when we go from that, roughly 0 degrees Celsius to the freezing temps. Obviously the accumulation is going to change in that regard. So let me jump back in. Light snow has started near Winchester. Perfect. Again, we saw that on the camera starting to pile up there, so that's good. Carlton Place is getting heavy snow right now coming from Deb. Thank you very much for that. And yes, we've watched that on the camera there a couple of times. So definitely starting to get that precipitation. And we'll take a look at roads there once some of the snow has moved through the area, and we'll see how that's affecting travel times. And then Tornado Pro saying snowing heavily in Canada. West Ottawa, Raymond coming in saying West Ottawa, lots of snow. So we are seeing that precip starting to push into the Ottawa area, and essentially this is what's going to affect the commute later this afternoon, because again, we're expecting some of this snow to stick around obviously into the evening, but the heavier stuff kind of midday to early afternoon is where models were showing that happening. So anyways, that's where we're at there. Snowing hard in Bancroft. It has been since 7 a.m. ish coming from Murray, and yes, we've been watching the snow kind of marching eastward. I've been up since before 7 a.m. kind of monitoring the situation, and you can see here, I'll back this radar up, Bancroft to the west. So this is there's Bancroft right there, so I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right area. Yeah, you can see that snow kind of started before 7 a.m., light snow, and then it's kind of picked up a few bands as it's moving through, and that intensity is picking up. So Bancroft definitely getting a decent amount of snow right now. And we'll take a look. Actually, I think I've got a camera. Is there a camera down there? There is one right here, so we can look at that. There's what we're talking about right there. So that's the difference. It's been snowing for several hours there, and intensity has picked up. So you can see, quite snow-covered roads. So there's some decent accumulation down in Bancroft. I would not be surprised if there's already 5 centimeters on the ground in that area. So thank you for the update there. And what else is going on here? And Murray, I don't know if you know or you can tell how much snow is out that way, but it'd be awesome to get an idea as to what you think is on the ground. Marie-Hélène Harris, will Cardinal get snow today? Yes, unfortunately for you and Veronica, my moderator, you're getting snow. It is headed your way. Pretty much we have snow stretching essentially from just around Low Quebec straight down all the way to the Seaway. Obviously patchy in certain areas, but for the most part, everybody's kind of getting this first wave as this as snow moves into the region and makes its way eastward. So you can see that marching across the screen there. So definitely snow coming from the Cardinal, or for the Cardinal area. Murray saying happy spring. Yes, I like I said, it's kind of Mother Nature's sense of humor to give us a snowstorm on the first day of spring, in quotation marks. Wyerton Willie got what he deserved. Yeah, it's funny, but depends who you talk to. There's different variations always when you got that Punxsutawney Phil or whatever. There's another one down in, I want to say that's Pennsylvania, but whatever. It's funny how we have those superstitions in the weather world as well. So I heard Willie went to Florida. Yes, he's checked out and gone south. So Pig Haven, how will be Chelsea, Quebec? My daughter is going to be going to the Nordic for her birthday. So again, our expectations kind of north of Ottawa, lighter snow throughout this event. And again, if you're just joining us, south of Ottawa, 5 to 10 centimeters is kind of on the table up until you get close to that lakeshore. After that, it can... after that, it can be freezing rain or rain. So I'm just going to re-highlight that up. We're kind of thinking a line along here for the heaviest precip to the south of this. And to the north, less precipitation. That's essentially, in a nutshell, what models were showing. So you can see that, again, what we're seeing on radar is coming to fruition based on what models were predicting. So more snow tucked in or packed into the south of Ottawa. So north of there, a few centimeters to 5 centimeters kind of thing. So nothing crazy. Roads will get a little slippery, but nothing we can't handle in Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec as far as winter is concerned. What else have we got here? Perfect. Okay, comments just catching up here. Hey all, how do you get a snow monster to go away? Get into a heated argument. There's the dad joke of the day. Perfect. Nadine, hey Tom, happy spring. Happy spring to you as well. Murray says they have about 7 centimeters, so that's we're just talking about towards the Bancroft area where it's been snowing since just before 7 a.m. So that could head this way, and that Bancroft might exceed what the expectations are because they were calling for 5 to 10 centimeters, but we'll see whether that's the case. So Drake asking how much snow in Alexandria area. So again, I was drawing that line on the screen. South of that line, we're expecting in the 5 to 10 centimeters. So let's say less than 10 centimeters. North of that line, we're definitely in the 5 centimeters or less. For the most part. Again, that's just kind of an average. So I would think Alexandria area is going to be on the light end of it based on what models we're showing and what we're seeing. So I would say for Alexandria, maybe 5 centimeters or less, essentially. So what else is going on? Melissa, thanks for jumping in the chat. One of my moderators again. So Veronica's been on since the beginning, but thank you guys, ladies, for helping me out. And Melissa just sending in a photo, actually. Let me I'm assuming that's from Carleton Place. So let me just take a look here. I'll pull that up and share it here. So this is, let me, give me 1 second here. So this is from Melissa. I believe this is Carleton Place because that's where she lives, but you can see how quickly the snow is accumulating in those heavier bands, and those big snowflakes coming in definitely cover the roadway very quickly. So just keeping that in mind. So if you're driving, coming through, just because the road's clear, if you do get into that snow, it could change the road surface pretty quick and make things a little bit slick for you folks. I'm just watching my cameras here, so we'll go through them again. I love using them just because they can show what's going on. So visibility has dropped significantly in the Carleton Place area. You can see that over to the horizon that it's hard to see any of those trees or anything like that. and still big snowflakes coming down. So that is starting to accumulate there. Nepean, same thing, definitely a decent amount of accumulation with those big snowflakes coming through. So some of these areas are definitely picking up the snow quickly. This is outside of Kempville, outside my studio. We're starting to see that accumulation happen on the ground, covering vehicles, so forth, so on and so forth, I guess. And then Winchester, this is our other weather cam, and just getting in on the game. So the accumulation is just starting on the roadway. But again, you can see the bigger snowflakes. That seems to be the common theme with our radar today, indicating the snow where it's happening. So just stuff to keep in mind when we move through. This is marching eastward. What I'm monitoring visually for myself here is on the back end to the west, whether there's going to be more precip coming in kind of from the northwest or from the west. So right now our first wave will be here, is here essentially for the Ottawa area and Eastern Ontario. But you can just see on this image right here, it's mostly tucked into Eastern Ontario, and there's very little moving into the Quebec side. So it's stretched up to kind of low through Cantley, Buckingham, so those close to the Ottawa River Valley. But other than up by Kazabazawa, there's a little bit of a band of snow up there. There's not a whole lot of snow to speak of on the Quebec side. Yes, there's light flurries, but significantly less than you see in the Eastern Ontario area currently. So I'm just going to move back here to King City radar and just try and see what's happening further back west, whether there's precipitation. And just let me shut this off. So my question, or where I'm monitoring, is this area up in here, because this is what would make it into Eastern Ontario, and we may not see much more coming off of there. And so that's why I'm kind of watching to see what's happening here. So I'm going to play this out. You can see as that initial wave moved through, that's kind of moved into Eastern Ontario, but behind it, there's not a lot of precipitation. Most of it's kind of to the south of what I've highlighted here in orange. And that's not coming to Eastern Ontario. That's obviously moving into the New York area, Pennsylvania, that kind of thing. So that's just kind of moving on a southeast trajectory. So that's what we're watching as we go through this morning. So it could be a shorter event than we're expecting, but still to be determined, essentially. And again, if you're just joining, when I jumped on, I didn't expect this to be a very long stream, nothing like some of my marathon ones for 8 or 9 hours, but this is the initial wave coming through. Whether there's more behind it, that right now I'm not sure, so we'll continue to monitor that and keep you guys up to date as to what's possibly going to happen here. So I'll just get back into some questions. Just got home from driving on the 416. It's getting slick. Take your time. That's Stuart. Stuart actually is the host of one of our weather cameras. Thank you, Stuart, as always. He's got our Nepean weather cam, and it's definitely snowing outside his place right now. And again, I've shown it a few times, but big snowflakes coming down right now. And you can see the apartment building visibility is at a premium, even at short distance, as this snow moves through the region. So we'll continue to update folks and work through it. And hopefully, I'm going to check on road conditions there in a sec as well. What else is going on? I have to drive, CA. I have to drive from Carleton Place to Ottawa this afternoon. Should I wait till 3 p.m.? So the answer to that is yes. The later in the day you're going, the better the conditions are going to be. Because the snow is moving through the region, the road conditions will be kind of snow covered, but crews will probably be able to get them with some salt and get them kind of under control. But your drive time will be a bit longer than if it was dry kind of thing. So the Fiona, always good to see you in the chat. It's heavy snow from Portland to Westport. Lots of snow plows out, thank goodness, but snow is building up fast on the roads, and that's what we've been seeing. And I've been trying to show that on our weather cams and throughout the road network there. So thank you for that. I appreciate that update as always from the ground. What else is here? Gail is saying, hello, I need to move there. It is already too warm, 80 degrees yesterday. I believe you're in Colorado, and that's crazy that it's 80 degrees in Colorado, if that's correct. I believe it is, but anyways, yeah, always love seeing you on the chat. We love having people from far distances watching what's going on elsewhere. So, okay, what else is here? Okay, perfect. I'm caught up on the comments. So let's go take a look at roads, and we'll see how things are evolving on the road side of things. So I'll bring up Google Maps. You can definitely see as that snow is moving through the region, we're definitely starting to see some slowdowns. Nothing major as of yet. Still green east of Ottawa for the most part because the snow hasn't made its way there. There does look to be some kind of slowdown here outside of Perth. Probably an accident or something on, or could be snowplows, I guess, as well. It's no indicator of any accident on Google Maps yet, but that's one area that has jumped out at me on the map. This is generally the truck weigh station, so there's usually a red spot there, so they've probably got it open and they're just inspecting commercial vehicles. So that's why it's showing red there. You start to learn patterns as you look at this now that I've been doing this for the last 3-4 months throughout winter. So basically on the Quebec side, 148 looks pretty good. A few slowdowns there. Highway 17 definitely got some yellow slowdown areas, and then you get into those highways running towards Bancroft, throughout Barry's Bay, that kind of stuff. There are some slowdowns, but nothing major. Just what you would normally expect on a snow day. Just looking back here along Highway 7, the slowdowns are starting to pick up, and there's this is just an intersection. I'm just zooming in. I see a red, but that's just probably to do with that intersection and the snow obviously impacting the commute a little bit. There is a slowdown here at the 401. That looks like a crash. This is down, where are we? Just east or west of Port Hope, east of Newcastle. 401 showing several accidents. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is definitely not good, showing all those accidents there from basically Darlington all the way back to Port Hope area. So let's take a quick look. I'll switch over to my radar and see if we can pull up some of those cameras down that way. So let me just see here. That should be down here. So pretty wet and slick. I don't know if it's freezing rain. It looks like it's not freezing to the roadway, but again, hard to tell off a still image, unfortunately. And these are 10:16, so that's 2 minutes ago. I don't know why there's so many accidents being reported. I'm just seeing if there's any cameras here that I can look at that might pull up those accidents. This looks like it could be freezing rain at this point. So this is at Newtonville. It does not look pleasant on the 401 there. Obviously, there's no accident showing on those cameras. And I'm just going to take a look at Port Hope here. Yeah, that definitely looks like freezing rain based on what's sticking to the camera itself. And the roadway, I can kind of make out that there's grooves on it. So it's definitely impacting travel. So just not pleasant on the 401 in that stretch there. But again, if you've got good winter tires, you should be okay. I'm just moving a little further down the 401. And again, we're starting to see rain, but there is wet precip sticking to the roads themselves. And you can see there that definitely the road surface is, picking up that snow. So just take your time out there and, travel according to conditions. That's all I can basically say. But for the most part, if you do that, you should be okay. And just looking out here, I'm just scanning back around to look if there's anything else I need to jump on. I am going to bring up, give me 1 second here. Just wanted to mention, if you're not on our Facebook page, so let me come back here. So we do have two Facebook pages. We have one, Canadian Weather Live Reports, obviously for us, which is where we put up information. Any kind of serious alerts, that kind of stuff ends up on the Facebook page, and then so you can follow us there. We've got probably 4,500 followers on that Facebook page, but we have another page that we put out, which is more community driven. Per se, and it's Canadian Weather Live Reports, and I'm going to share that right now. So you can join this group. There's very basic questions that need to be answered to get into it. It keeps all the trolls and the bots and all the troublemakers out of there. But if you don't answer the questions, it won't let you in. And so it's to do with anything to do with weather. It has to be weather related, but anything that you're reporting, it comes up on here, and people, and this is, you can post anytime you want. It doesn't have to be while we're on a live stream. Obviously, you're seeing weather in your area. We want to see this grow across Canada. So it's just a good community to get information. You can see freezing rain, whatever's happening. That's what we do there. So if you want, again, Canadian Weather Live Reports, and it is run by our page, Canadian Weather Live. So those are our two pages on Facebook, just in case anybody wants to join those. Let's get back at it here into the questions. I think there's, okay, I've gotten through a bunch of them, so I think we're good there. Mag's coming in saying heavy snow in Carlington area down in Ottawa, so that's near the 417 I should say. So thank you for that update. What else is going on here? Luna Bella saying, so grateful that I no longer have a 401 commute. Take it easy out there. Absolutely. It's tough. I would not want to drive the 401 on a regular basis. In fact, when I do travel to Toronto now, I usually will take Highway 7 and just take my time going down through Peterborough and then jumping on the 401. There's just so many trucks on the 401, and it gets chaotic sometimes with those trucks. So I definitely prefer Highway 7. That's just me. So what else have we got going on? So, okay, so we've got this moving through here. I'm going to take a look at some of the traffic cameras here on Highway 7, and we'll see whether we can pick up what's happening. So this is Arden, Ontario. So this is Highway 7 west of Perth. We can definitely see that snow is accumulating. So roads are going to be slick as you're driving, but again, road crews should be able to keep up with it fairly well. But yes, you are going to expect slowdowns for the afternoon commute into this evening if you're coming out of the Ottawa area. This is just west of Ottawa where the 417 and Highway 7 split. So you can see wet, heavy snow sticking to the camera there and obviously accumulating on the road surface fairly quickly. 417 Bell Corner, same kind of view. Snow sticking to the camera and starting to accumulate in the lanes. What else? Take a look here down 416 by the river. Significantly large snowflakes. Obviously, lanes are getting snow covered a little bit, but still mostly clear. This is at 10:16, about 8 minutes ago. So you can see that progression of the snow as it's coming through the area, and luckily still not impacting travel a whole ton, but it's I'm moving the radar up. Sorry, I had it paused on an old frame, so I just want to show what's the latest thing. This is Highway 15. Not a lot of fun. This is Regional Road 5 and Highway 15 Otter Lake area. Again, just slick road conditions, but visibility in those heavy snow bands. That's the one thing, when you come upon them, you're going to lose that ability to see too far away. So just keep that in mind, slow down, and you'll be okay. This is drastically different, but this is 10:13, so this is 12 minutes ago, kind of down by the 401 416 interchange. So as you get closer to that St. Lawrence Seaway, the Lake Ontario, you can see that the precip isn't sticking as much to things. So I'm just going to take a look here. I know we've gotten some reports. We'll take a look near Mallorytown. Again, this is 10 a.m. So this is 25 minutes old. Again, unfortunately not very helpful, but it was snowing there 25 minutes ago. This is more recent. So 401 here looks clear still. Doesn't seem to be any kind of accumulation happening. So this is kind of a wet snow or rain possibly. And that's just near the Alexandria Bay crossover to the U.S. into upstate New York. Let's take a look down by Kingston. There you go. So this is what it looks like in that yellow heavier band. This is 1024, so this is a minute old. Very large snowflakes, and visibility is significantly drastically reduced in that snow band. So same thing, it doesn't look like it's accumulating to the road yet. The surface is warm enough that it's melting, but if that snow does fall enough and accumulate, and I'm just zooming out because I got that alert just now, so I'm just going to see. I'll update you folks on this, and we'll swing back over. Let's just see here. Did this updated just now? Freezing rain continues, so they're just updating it. They're still saying freezing rain with ice build up to 2 to 5 millimeters, which is the same as it was earlier, and they're saying ending near noon. So that's the kind of the timeline for this area down GTA. I'll bring up the King City radar and we'll just look at where things are. They're saying that it's going to end near noon. There's a heavy bit of precip moving off of Lake Huron, just up here near Port Elgin. You can see that bright orange scan coming in here, and if I zoom in, there's even some red pixels. So Hanover, that kind of area, showing 1 degree Celsius in here, so they are still calling for some freezing rain. I'm going to see if there's a camera here I can look at. So definitely looks like there's some buildup on the roadway itself. It does look very wet, so that's probably pretty good. And it doesn't look like it's frozen, which is great. This looks a little more slick. This is near Orangeville, Highway 10. But again, you can see it's more of an ice type precipitation than any kind of snow with that. So that's kind of to the west and northwest of the GTA area. So keep that in mind. There was another update that just came out, and I want to say it was this one here, but I'll double. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to highlight that and we'll bring that up here. So again, it's a fairly large area that they're highlighting with these alerts. This one here, they're just saying updated 2 minutes ago. Wintry mix continues. Again, ending near noon. Still that 2 to 5 centimeters of snow, but risk of freezing rain involved in there as well. So that's kind of around Kawartha Lakes, heading up towards Wasaga Beach, Collingwood. So on the northern end of that, and they're calling it to be ending around noon. I'm curious whether we've got the other warning here in Eastern Ontario, whether they're going to update this. I'm just going to double check if they have. They haven't yet. I expect an update for that weather statement coming out possibly shortly from Environment Canada. It looks like they're kind of doing a round and updating things as we move along here. So for the GTA area and in southwest of us, it looks like that most of that precipitation will be done around midday. For us, it might be a little bit later than that. We are currently what else have we got here? We're currently, what time is it? 10:30. So again, our window for that heavier precip to move out of the area for Eastern Ontario was early afternoon. So we'll continue to monitor it and see if that's the case for us. So just getting a comment here. There's an accident at 417 and Elgin. So let me see if I can find that camera on here. And that's the Civic. This somewhere here should be a camera. That's Isabella. I don't know if that's going to show that. Wow. Not the best visibility in Ottawa right now on the 417. Obviously, you can see that quite a bit of reduced visibility. I'm just trying to find if there's another camera that might pick this up, but that's Nicholas. So again, drastically reduced visibility as you're coming through Ottawa on the 417. I'll bring up Google Maps. I was going to try. That's Bronson, so that's too far back. So let me just bring this up here and see where's that accident. I'm just trying to find it here on Google Maps. I do show a slowdown here. I don't show a force. Oh, there is an accident somewhere near Elgin, but it's not on the 417 itself. That's probably why I couldn't find it. Just give me a sec here. Let me share this with you guys. So that accident is at just as you get off the 417 coming down to Metcalf. There's an accident indicated there, but you can see the yellow is starting to populate our map more so, and there is definitely a red spot here as you're crossing, kind of going westbound past Bronson. There's usually a slowdown there, I know that. So obviously the snow is impacting commute times already, even midday, and you can see that that yellow is starting to affect things. I do have a slowdown here and an accident, it looks like on the 50 on the Gatineau side. So this is definitely, it looks like northbound lanes are eastbound because once this turns, it goes eastbound. This is on the 50. We've got a couple of indicators on both sides showing that there's an accident there. So I'm just going to look to see if I can pull that camera up. A lot of the Quebec cameras are down usually, so we'll see if these want to work. There you go. It's frustrating. So this is the camera that doesn't look like, and I can't blow it up anymore for anybody that's new to the channel. This is as big as it gets, unfortunately. But you can see they're down to one lane, it looks like, here on the one side, on the left side of the screen. So they obviously have the lane closed further to the north of this video clip that we're seeing here. So that's the location of it. And if I switch back to my Google Maps, you can see that that's the accident's kind of further north of it. So on the Gatineau, Quebec side, that's what I'm seeing there as far as slowdowns. Highway 174, there's a few slowdowns just as you're leaving Orleans area. This is for the ferry as usual, so nothing out of the ordinary there. But by Rockland, and I don't have any cameras out that way, we are showing an accident with some slowdowns as you come in to the Rockland area. So just keep that in mind if you are heading on the 174. There are some slowdowns in that area as well. And then let's just take a look if anything else jumps out at me. Right now, just yellow where that snow is coming through. No major slowdowns as well. So, and I've got a video here, I think from Rick. So bear with me for a second. That's funny. Rick's flying the drone. Okay, let me share this on the live stream. Bear with me for a second, folks. So let's get back to this. And we'll zoom out of the radar. I'll get that zoom back out, and we'll get back to the bigger picture here. And then I'm going to pull this up on my social media side of things. We'll get Rick's video zoomed in here. Can we go full screen with that? Perfect. Except I can't control it. Yeah, sorry. Give me one sec. That didn't work as I had hoped. And now it's stuck. I love technology. It's only good when it works. I've somehow managed to figure out a mode that I can't get out of. And now I can't even access my chat. Okay, bear with me here. So we'll close this. It won't even let me close it. Okay, bear with me, folks. I'm going to kill it with the computer here. So where's WhatsApp? There we go. And task. Beautiful. Bring it back up. Okay. Don't try things that are new while you're on a live stream. It rarely works out. Okay. Let's try this. I'm going to pause it. There we go. Now we're playing with fire. So let me share this here. So this is Rick flying the drone in Perth, and I'm laughing because if anybody's followed the channel at all, the Perth weather cameras on 511 are terrible, and he obviously is highlighting these on his video. So this is in Perth. Just now, a short while ago, so you can see what road conditions are like. That's about 10 minutes ago. So visibility definitely at a premium as the day is moving through here with all this snow. So again, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing too exciting, but it is affecting road conditions and travel times. So as this moves through, especially south of Ottawa, that's where the meat of this precipitation is going to be today. You can expect this kind of stuff happening. So just Rick giving us a bird's eye view. Always appreciate him tuning in here and sharing stuff with us from the Perth area. He also runs Lanark County Scanner on Facebook page. Very good resource. So definitely give him a follow on there. He's always got good information in terms of road closures, fire, for structures or police or anything like that. So definitely give him a follow there. And again, thank you for sharing that with us. So what else have we got here? My name, Ernie. Winter never ends. Hopefully it does. I know everybody's getting frustrated with it, but I think the end is in sight. We should see a dramatic change in terms of less snow happening throughout the region and moving to warmer weather over the next few weeks. Again, potential for another snowstorm over the weekend, so we will keep you guys up to date with that. So definitely one of those things that it seems to drag on when we have these longer winters. What else? Kevin Riley, good to see you. Steady snow, 3 to 5 centimeters down near Bryson on the Ottawa River. Thank you for that update. So things are starting to accumulate in certain areas. I'm just looking to see if that's for our region, that alert, but it's not. So that's what that beeping is. Anytime my radar software gets an update from Environment Canada, it covers the whole country, unfortunately, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Lana Savard saying snow near Embrum Castleman. Snow had tripled in amount falling in the last 10 minutes, still small flakes. So yes, there you can see those bands when they move through, that there are different levels of intensity. But here's a picture of Eastern Ontario right now, and the snow is almost following the provincial lines in terms of between Ontario and Quebec, but we're essentially our snow is tucked in south of the Ottawa River. Don't know why that disappeared, but there we go. So that's where your snow is kind of tucked in. So to the north of it, again, since we've been talking about this since I got on the broadcast about an hour and a half ago, the snow was expected to be in this area here. So outside of that, you're not going to have a ton of snow to the north. And again, Bancroft, we've been hearing, already had 7 centimeters as this whole system moved through since just before 7 a.m., kind of starting in that area. So accumulation will be tucked into this orange circle that I've got highlighted, and obviously south of that line as this moves through. So the rest of those areas, you never know what you're going to get in terms of light flakes, but I don't expect a lot of accumulation outside of what we were just showing on the screen there. So what else? Okay, jump back into the comments here. Sylvie DeLille just saying heavy snow in Kingston, and that's good to know that it's coming down as snow. We were looking at some of those traffic cameras not too long ago. I'll see if some of them have updated here. So yeah, you can see that obviously this is 10:38, about a minute ago. Very poor visibility and quite a bit of accumulation happening on the 401. So there's definitely going to be slowdowns down there. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. When you're traveling, once this snow is coming through, you're going to have a harder time seeing things. And I'm going to just check in on our weather cams here and take a look at. I'll bring that back up here in a minute. What else have we got here? Megan saying, I think I chose a good day to be off. Yes, if you don't have to go anywhere, you're towards Mirabel, so I don't think you're going to get a ton of snow. It's probably going to be fairly light for you. You're on the very edge of this being in Mirabel, so you can see the snow is kind of tucked in here, and if I play the cycle, you can see that it's not getting too much further north of the Ottawa River, and that's what models were showing when we looked at this. So I don't think you're going to get it too much there, Megan, in the Mirabel area. What else have we got in here? Wow, cool drone shots coming from Josh. Yes, Rick always does awesome stuff with the drone out there. He's testing the limits, flying a drone in the snow. I appreciate that because I'm a drone operator as well. So as long as he's able to fly in there, I know kind of the conditions I can fly in. What else have we got here? Megan saying maybe spring will be here in May. I sure hope it's here before May. We do have some Aprils where we get miserable weather. I mean, a couple of years ago, we had that big ice thunder freezing rain event that happened throughout Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec, and we got a ton of freezing rain, and that was in April. So still, you're within the next month, you're still capable of having these freezing events. So just keep that in mind. Yes, we all want spring here, but it's definitely one of those things that Mother Nature's in control and we're not. What else is going through here? KAS just drove through Deep River, currently stopped snowing. So Highway 17, thank you for that update. So Highway 17 starting to get out of that snow, and you can see it on the radar. If you look northwest of Ottawa, the snow is definitely tapering off, and may be over for the most part for that region at this point, because I'm going to just zoom into this camera at the Petawawa River Bridge. Obviously snow covered, so the snow has moved out for the most part. This is 11 minutes or 12 minutes old, so take that with a grain of salt, but obviously snow accumulating on the road, so travel conditions are going to be slower, but you can see that there's not much precipitation back to the west and northwest. And I will take a look at one of our other radars that we have here to our disposal. This one back here, which is loading up. Okay, so this is kind of just south of North Bay, the radar, north of Toronto, and you can see that there's no real precipitation. That's that first wave moving out early this morning, 7:45, and then it's just dissipating. So it looks like, again, wasn't expecting to be on here super long today. Just kind of wanted to walk people through the heaviest of precipitation through the Eastern Ontario area. But this, sorry, let me close that up. This bulk of this precipitation in this area here, that's our show. Once that moves out, essentially there's not much back to the west, and if it does happen, it might be light flurries, so we'll keep an eye on it again, and I'll stick with it till it's mostly moved out of the region. If it does get very light, obviously I'm not going to stay on here to tell you guys that it's lightly snowing. I mean, that's normal for our area, so I'm curious what the accumulations are going to look like. Just looking back in here, I'm going to bring up the Kempville camera, just share that with you. So just outside my place, obviously looks far whiter than it did an hour ago, even half an hour ago. So the snow started here, and we're definitely getting some accumulation happening here, and visibility is at a significant premium. Let's look back here. This is the Winchester camera, getting snow covered. So the size of the flakes in Winchester right now look very large. Unfortunately, it's covering our camera, so that isn't helping things. But let's take a look here. This is back to the west in Carleton Place. So still getting that snow coming into Carleton Place. Definitely looking a lot more wintry out that way. And they've been in it for the last hour and change. So definitely a difference of perspective. And then this is our Nepean camera. Still snowing there, but visibility has picked up. That apartment building is easier to see. When we were looking at it earlier, definitely visibility was lower than it is now. So if we look at the radar, you can see Ottawa is kind of on the very edge of the precip, less so in the heavier stuff. So that's kind of the tail end of it. So awesome to see that. Being able to bring that to you guys just how it is here on those weather cameras. So I'm going to jump back into the chat here. What else have we got here? Okay, yeah, Veronica, thanks for putting Rick's page up. There's a link in the chat there for Lanark County Scanner. So thank you for that. Canadian Timbit, Merry Spring. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Combination of Christmas and springtime. So anyways, I'm looking forward to the warmer weather like everybody else is. Again, if you are just joining in, we may have some snow, freezing rain, and some mixed precipitation coming in over the weekend. Again, we will update you if you haven't subscribed to our page on Facebook. We post stuff there. And then obviously, if you want to know about weather coming into the region, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out a lot. And make sure you turn on your notifications, because then it'll let you know when we do go live. Because we do, anytime any kind of reasonable weather is coming into the area, we appreciate everybody subscribing to the channel. It helps get the information out. So anyways, that's where we're at as far as that's concerned. And Facebook page is another good resource, just because we can post alerts on there. So sometimes we'll put up graphics, and I'll show that actually here. Let me just swing over to that page and bring it up. We also are now posting our forecast videos on Facebook as well, so I'll share that with you. So this is obviously our live stream today. The very confused gentleman looking at spring going, what's going on? This is Connor's forecast video from 14 hours ago. We had those big winds on March 17th. We posted this graphic here just showing where those higher winds, and obviously quite a few people with power outages affected with that. So this is the kind of stuff we share on our Facebook page anytime. So Canadian Weather Live on Facebook is another good resource for you guys outside of the live streams themselves. So thank you guys for all the support as well. We really appreciate it. What else have we got here? Mom coming in saying snowing quite heavy in Prescott, and that's down by the 401, 416. So this darker green areas, that's heavy snow. So Kempville, Winchester, we've been looking at those cameras. And then obviously where the yellow is the most intense precipitation. So that's, we can kind of look quickly to see Alexandria just kind of to the north of it, even some yellow pixels here on radar. So something to consider. That's where that heavier precip, but you can see that we're having the end of the precip is kind of tucked in below this line. To the north of it, there is some flurries, but they're very light, if anything at all. Everything is essentially south of this line and moving in this kind of general direction roughly. So once this moves out, that should be most of it for the day, because it's accumulating fairly quick in areas when it moves through. It's still, what are we now at almost 11 a.m. The commute out of Ottawa shouldn't be absolutely terrible, but it's still probably going to be slick. So the road conditions will impact drive times. So just keep that in mind. But for the most part, it's better than expected, because we were we were expecting snow to last longer in the Ottawa area till mid-afternoon, which obviously the rush hour starts right around 3 o'clock and moves along from there. So it's not going to be as bad as we were expecting, which is great. So Stuart Mays, the crazy weather border collie, is really getting tired of winter. Isn't spring today? Yes, that's definitely the general consensus in the chat and our followers. I'm getting tired of it as well. I mean, as much as I'm a weather guy, I love weather. I'm ready for warmer temps and just getting into more reasonable, temperatures. So, Dan saying, "Dear Mother Nature, I'm tapping out. I no longer find this fun." Anymore. And like I said, that seems to be the general consensus. Carol letting us know that it has just started snowing in Cornwall. That's a few minutes old, that comment, obviously, but you can see on the radar here that it is moving through the Seaway area. So along the St. Lawrence Seaway, definitely starting to get impacted by the snow. I'm just taking a look here. Okay, I just got some comments in my chat. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. So yeah, definitely getting some. Oh my goodness. I'm going to bring up our Winchester camera because it's getting buried at this point. Did not have this on my. When we installed this, that this would be an issue, but clearly we're looking through some snowflakes, but that is out of Winchester. So definitely a visibility issue. I can see some of the flakes falling and they're massive. So that's why that camera is getting buried. So Winchester currently, and I just have a comment, Connor saying that it's absolutely snowing down. He's in Winchester. So our camera there corroborates what's happening on the radar here. So you can kind of see the Winchester area almost to the southeast of Ottawa there in that heavy band of snow as it's moving through. It's not going to last super long, but in these darker green areas, we are definitely getting that snow accumulating. So just drive carefully, be safe out there, and take your time. That's all I can say. What else is going on here? Melissa's saying she hates driving in this. Oh no. Veronica, I saw that Chuck Norris was admitted to the hospital, but RIP Chuck Norris. That's not good. I guess maybe he's passed away. That's yeah. I grew up with Chuck Norris, just watching, and obviously I'm of that generation, I guess. Anyways, that's sad. So anyways, RIP Chuck Norris from Veronica. So it obviously didn't go well. Lake Time saying, Dan, you and me both are tapping out of winter, so nobody's having fun with it. KC family coming in. This is ridiculous in the Kemptville area as well. So yeah, luckily it's not a lot. That's the only saving grace, and it's not going to last a long time. We've got maybe another hour or two of the snow moving through the region, but this looks like once this precipitation that you see on the radar here has moved out, and you can kind of see the track of it. I'm just backing it up here. And this starts at 7:53 a.m. So this is at just before 8 o'clock, 3 hours ago. And this is what's kind of taken place in the last 3 hours. So I don't see any more precip kind of building out to the west a whole lot. So this should be the meat of it. And once again, may have spotty flurries throughout the rest of the day, but very light compared to what we're seeing here for the most part. Heavy snow coming in Spencerville, according to Ruby, and again, Spencerville to the south of Kemptville, definitely in that darker green area, so getting quite a bit of snow as well. So what else have we got here? Snow starting in Vaudreuil-Dorion, coming from Don LaFontaine. So that is on the very northeast tip of this precipitation. And I'm actually going to take a look at the Blainville radar just to see how it's interpreting it, because that radar is much closer. But you can see, so I'm going to show you the difference here. And this is a little bit of just understanding how storms and radar work. The further away you are from the radar, the higher up the beam is reading into the storm. So if I click on a tool I have here, which is like a little inspection tool, I can move all the way just to Vaudreuil-Dorion. that beam is telling me, if we look at the screen, and I'll bring it up larger, is 8,500 feet off the ground roughly. And so 8,500 feet is 2 kilometers up, essentially over 2 kilometers. But if I switch to my radar here at Blainville, we drop 7,100 feet closer to the surface. And so this is more accurate in terms of what's happening because it's closer to the radar. The snow is much lighter at the surface. So sometimes you have that situation where precipitation is falling through the atmosphere and it evaporates or doesn't make it to the surface always. So this is a good little tool I use for understanding what's actually happening in the storm and how far up we're reading into the storm. Just a little tidbit I like to share or educate people with on the stream, just so you understand looking at radar isn't always what you see is what's falling on the ground, because again, distance from radar does impact things. So what else? Okay, and then I'm just getting a notice here. There's an accident in Ottawa, so I'm going to try and bring that up. There looks to be one here, so I'll share this with everybody. Sorry, give me 1 second. Switch it up here. So this is in Ottawa near the Carlington area. What road is this? This is, why won't it? It's near Maitland. Sorry, that's Maitland. Brain catching up there. So it looks like there's a westbound lanes. There's an accident showing here. So there's a slowdown there. So Veronica, thank you for letting me know that. So yeah, that's definitely one of the slowdowns, and we're starting to see, I'm going to bring it up here. So again, because the snow is moving through the region, we are seeing some accidents. So I've got one here on the east end, 174, 417, another crash here down on the east end at 417 near Hunt Club. You're starting to see accidents populate the screen. So please take your time. Road conditions aren't going to be the best when this is moving through. And again, most of it is out of the Ottawa area. There are trace amounts happening still, as you can see on this radar here. But Ottawa itself to the top here, basically very little precipitation up here compared to south of Ottawa tucked into this, which is what we highlighted where we were expecting the most of the precipitation was going to be falling in that area. So Carleton Place, Perth, Smith Falls, Kemptville, over to Bancroft, down to the Kingston, Belleville, Napanee area. That's essentially what our expectations were for this system as it was coming through. So so just wanted to highlight that as well. Veronica, thank you for bringing that up. What else have we got here? Oh, Luna Bella actually met Chuck Norris. That's kind of cool. He seems like a very genuine individual. I, obviously have never met him, but that's cool. Thank you for that. Inside and out, saying lots of snow in Smith Falls. And yes, the radar is indicating even some yellow pixels happening there. I can look at one of the traffic cameras that are here. This is Otter Lake Highway 15. Definitely poor visibility. This is at 10:46, so about 12 minutes ago. But you can see that road conditions are not fun. And when you get into those heavy snow bands, visibility gets reduced drastically. So drive according to conditions. But for anybody who's tuned in here, I've been talking about our weather cam system that we're building. If you are interested in hosting a camera, we would install the equipment. It just has to connect to your internet. There's a few questions we have to ask. Obviously, speed of internet is one of them. Power and Wi-Fi signal is another, but that's something we can discuss. We are looking to grow a private camera network that would be community driven through Canadian Weather Live. So if you are interested in helping out or being part of that, and we're growing it as quick as we can, as soon as the weather allows us to do the installations. So you can reach out to us at canadianweatherlive@gmail.com. We have quite a few locations already set up, ready to possibly go online. Obviously, there's certain things that have to be met, but we're going to grow that throughout. So come severe season, we should have a significant amount of these weather cams that we have currently deployed working for us. So I can zoom in actually on that. So this is, like I said, our first 4 that we have online. We already have 3 others coming on board, and we're only going to grow it from there. So, and it's thanks to you folks that are, helping to support it. It's an awesome community-driven project, and so far we've only had them online for the last couple of weeks, and it's been phenomenal to be able to show you guys kind of more accurately what's happening with weather in our region, rather than relying on those still images from the 511 system, which again, I complain about it all the time because some of them are 30 minutes old, and that's completely pointless to checking out road conditions for anybody driving around, that kind of thing. So just going to show you guys what it's like in Kempville right now while we're on the topic. So obviously quite a bit of accumulation happening here. Kempville, just in the middle of your screen there with that dark green with some yellow pixelation, which is obviously the moderate end of the precipitation scale. Definitely starting to accumulate here as the system moves through. So we'll continue to monitor that. And again, we are starting to see this taper off for the region for parts of it. And we'll continue to stick with it for the next little bit. What else have we got? Mag saying another bad camera. Yes, weather does affect cameras, and that's a tough part, but that one's actually the one that I was showing in Winchester's at Connor's parents' place, so we have easy access to that one, so we'll see if we can help out with that and get that cleaned off. But with these wet heavy flakes, they can stick to the camera, unfortunately. Gayla asking Chuck Norris ? I really like his movies. The Fight with Bruce Lee, yes, that's one of the famous ones. The Grim Reaper did not come for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris called the Grim Reaper to tell him he was ready to check out. That's awesome. Good comment there, Dan. Love it. Snow started here in Cornwall, and it's coming down heavy and accumulating fast on the ground. So Willow Above and Beyond, thank you for that update. And yes, you can see on the screen here the Cornwall area just under this camera icon, definitely in that darker green. I'm going to see if the camera shows it. So you can see this. This is 10:58, 3 minutes ago. Definitely starting to accumulate. This is on the 401 at the 138 interchange. So just poor visibility. And again, we're seeing outside of my house, definitely stuck in this kind of heavier green snow band with some yellow pixelation in there as well. So this is where all our precipitation is tucked in, kind of into the eastern Ontario side of things, and moving southeast essentially. So I'll just play that out here and let that go, and then jump on a couple of other things here and just see if there's anything to update from there. So, okay. What else? A couple of centimeters in Smith Falls in the last hour already. So decent snowfall rate. I've definitely got several centimeters out front of my house. I'll go measure after the stream and just take a look to see what we get. I'm expecting maybe 5 centimeters, something in that neighborhood. So we were talking less than 10 centimeters essentially for this event. Again, nothing major. Snowing really hard here for an hour, so north of Avonmore. Thank you for that, Hyundai. Donnie out of Brockville, thank you very much. Appreciate your donation. Always good to see you on the stream. Love seeing the fireworks in there. That is one of the ways that gets us more cameras put out into the network and deploy them throughout Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec. So thank you for that. That's exactly what it goes straight to help out. So V-Baller Lefty, Canada North, we've got a heavy snowfall, bit of the snow with that visibility pretty fair though. Yes, and you're kind of on the edge of it now at this point, so it's only going to get lighter and dissipate or taper off at this point for the Canada Ottawa area. It's I'm going to bring it to the latest scan here, and you can kind of see that most of that precipitation has moved to the south and southeast of Ottawa and is moving its way out. There are some spotty patches here between Barry's Bay, a little bit around Renfrew, but very isolated compared to what you're seeing down south of Ottawa, Smith Falls, Kemptville, Winchester, Carleton Place, Almont, Athens, all of these places seeing that heavier snow, but that is going to move out of the region. And then after it's moved out, that's the end of the show for today. And again, anybody just joining in, it is potential for snow on Saturday night. So we will post about that on our pages as well. So what else? Just got back to Oxford Mills area. That's coming from Irish, from Kemptville, and roads have gotten surprisingly slippery for the amount of snow. Go easy. It can surprise you. And yes, that's the thing, is that the accumulation can be quick, and just with the type of snow that's coming down, those big heavy flakes can make travel conditions slippery. So just keep that in mind, and drive carefully as the comment is, and it shouldn't be a big deal. Rick saying, Tom, your camera looks like a time lapse in reverse. Stop it. Yeah, that definitely, it's funny. It's the first time I've seen this camera in Winchester getting buried, but obviously it's to do with the size of the snowflakes. I should send Connor out to clear the camera. We get him with a brush and get out there and clean it off. What else, Donnie? Okay, you also had a comment here. Good morning, Tom. Snowing heavy in Brockville at the moment, and that's that heavy precip moving into the area. You can see it's crossed into upstate New York to the south near Kingston. This is out over the lake. So obviously picking up some moisture off the lake, that's what's intensifying it there. And it's a mix of snow and rain. It's 2 degrees in upstate New York here, so I'm suspecting that's going to be, rain more than anything. I'm going to take a look at the Wolf Island Ferry. So this is definitely obviously snow at 11.4, so that's just enough to keep that freezing precip, and that's just in Kingston, not in Kingston, across from Kingston, I should say, at the Wolf Island Ferry. Let's just take a look at some more cameras here near Kingston. They've just been getting quite a bit of heavy snow there along the 401. So you can see travel conditions along the 401, not a whole lot of fun anymore. Very snow covered as this moves through. So keep that in mind as we're traveling south of Ottawa through along the 416. I am just going to take a look at roads just to see. And yes, you can tell where the snow has kind of gone through. Bring this up here. A lot of yellow along the 416, especially down past Kemptville to the 401 corridor. Highway 7 mostly yellow, along with 15 and 43. And then down by Kingston, where we were just looking, you can see very obvious slowdowns on there, but no red, which is great. It just means taking your time, and that's what people look like they're doing. Not a whole lot of accidents to report throughout the region. There are several in the Ottawa area, which we did highlight. But if I zoom in here, you can see some of these crash indicators. Obviously 174, this looks like on Searville Road. Another one here, this looks like at Riverside and 417. There's several indicators there eastbound that there's an accident there. And then back to the west, this just looks like a slowdown. So hopefully that crash that was there in that area earlier is cleared. But we are showing some surface street crashes here as well. So along the Rideau River and River Road is another one there. So yeah, definitely just take your time. And again, this is not long lasting. We're most of it's out of the region of the Ottawa area, and it's now just kind of making its way south from there. So along the St. Lawrence Seaway, the 401 corridor is definitely going to see the end of it. That'll be the last of the precipitation as it moves out of Ontario and into upstate New York. So still a bit of time for it to snow over the 401 corridor, but we're getting there where this is mostly moving out of the area. So what else? What else do we got here? Sorry, my cat walked over the keyboard and put in an airplane mode. That's too funny. Uh, Cats, yes. Connor, when he does his forecast, has had his cat jump in doing cameos as well. So yeah, definitely, definitely one of those things. Jason, hey Tom, long time no see. Good to see you on the chat, Jason. Thanks for joining in. What else have we got here? Still heavy in Clayton. I expect it to be heavy for a little bit there, and it's actually just not for much longer, maybe another half an hour to an hour, but definitely going to be snowing there for a bit in that area. Megan saying it's her cat's way of letting her know she's the boss. Cats definitely think that, that's for sure. Most interactions I've had with cats, they think they're in charge. So Megan says I pay the mortgage so they can sleep on my bed. Yeah, like I said, stands true anyways. Lunabella saying plows are out in Mont Saint Marie, but still heavy snow and coverage. Take care on the 105. So thank you for that update. So we are still getting a decent amount of snow north of Ottawa towards Mont Saint Marie, and that may have to do with the elevation difference. So that's always good to hear that, because elevation does impact what's happening with your precipitation and that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely we're making our way through this, and it hasn't been bad, which is great. And I'm just going to look back at some radar here by King City just to see if we've got any updates for that area. Definitely a lot heavier precipitation down there. But again, most of this is rain or freezing rain. You can see down here like St. Catharines, 2 degrees. So this is going to be all rain. Drastic difference. They've got grass and rain, and we've got snow, so that's the difference there. And then if we look at this area kind of around Fergus, we're closer to the freezing point. This looks like more of an ice type precipitation. Road looks wet, but everything else kind of looks iced over, so that's why they've got that freezing rain warning. And you can see that's around Guelph area, definitely around that 0 degrees Celsius, so just borderline. Here this looks a little more like just rain, probably freezing to the windshield just from the wind chill aspect. But let's look up here and take a look at this. This looks fairly wet as well, so not too bad. But that is all moving again, if you're just joining in, southeast, so that's not coming towards eastern Ontario. I'm going to let that load up, and you can just kind of see how that's moving across into upstate New York, and is just moving its way out. So Environment Canada saying those special weather statements, or the freezing rain warning that we have here, they're supposed to end around noon. So in the next 45 minutes to an hour, roughly. Obviously that's a fairly large area, but you can see that the bulk of the precipitation is moving out and into Buffalo and across into New York, and done with Ontario for the most part. There's obviously a bunch of precipitation tucked in here, but that looks like the end of it for south, west and southern Ontario and the GTA area. Once this kind of moves out, that would be the bulk of that precip as well, by the looks of it. So I'll swing back here. We're going to take a look at our radar north of Toronto just to see. That would affect us more, and so we'll just take a look at that, and you can see there's nothing on radar here. So this is the radar just south of North Bay, not south of North Bay, south of Sudbury, I apologize. So that's, you can see the precipitation has dissipated since this morning. So there's nothing further to the west for the Eastern Ontario region, and that's why I've been monitoring that, just to keep an idea as to what's going to transpire here. So again, once this, we've now kind of tucked into this area here, just following the seaway up into near Montreal. And again, I don't expect much in Montreal out that way in terms of accumulation. There may be 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, something like that. But once this bulk of this precipitation crosses the St. Lawrence Seaway and the 401, that's going to be all she wrote for this event. So that's where we're at today at this point. So just jumping back here, heading into Orleans from Castleman within the hour. Anyone know if 417 or back roads are better? That's from Lana. So I can show you, you're going from into Orleans from Castleman. So let's just take a look here. Yeah, I don't have a lot of cameras that I can check out there. Give me one sec. Very few cameras that we can look at. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. Let's zoom in here. Oh, camera video unavailable. Sorry, I was going to share a camera with you that kind of had that. But right now, let's take a look at this camera here in Castleman just to see what we're seeing there. Big, heavy flakes. I suspect right now, I suspect that just going to look at Google Maps. The 417, and I'll share this with you right now as we currently look, mostly green on the 417 heading into Ottawa. So I would say your drive along the 417 should be reasonable, obviously slower than normal, but Lana, if you're going in, I would probably take the 417 right now. I don't have any, there you go. There's a little bit of the conditions of the back roads. For the most part, some slowdowns, but green seems to be the primary thing, so that's pretty good. Obviously, I don't know exactly what route you would take on the back roads, but I think either one should be reasonable. Just expect it's going to take a little bit longer to get in. So what else have we got here? Not pleasant out driving, saw no plows or sanders, also busy near Ramadan temples out in Barhaven. So that's coming from Barb. So yeah, obviously road crews need to get on things, and I'm sure they've got people out, but the accumulation of the snow is fairly quick in these snow bands. But again, once this is moved out and the plows get out and salt things, as long as they have salt with that shortage that we had, they should get roads into reasonable shape fairly quickly. And again, we are only 11:15 in the morning, so there's still a lot of window for that afternoon commute. I know we've had some questions regarding Ottawa. Obviously, people leaving the Ottawa area heading home. It should be fairly reasonable. It's still going to be slower conditions than you would if it was dry, but it should be, you're not going to be driving in snow for the most part, and it should be pretty decent. So that's good on that front. So Lana saying yes, yeah, thanks. 417 yesterday at 9 had 4 cars in the ditch. Yeah, that's not fun. So hopefully everybody was okay out there. What else is here? See snow, go slow, coming from Dan. 100% drive to conditions. I say it 1,000 times in here. So definitely drive to conditions. That's the main thing here. What else is here? Kind of make out the crash at Vanier and 417. So let's take a look at our cameras here. Zoom in and take a look. There's a couple of cameras. I think there's one camera here that I can maybe look at. Oh yeah, so this is perfect. So this is at the Vanier Parkway. That looks like it's heading eastbound, and you can see in the left lane there's a couple of emergency lights there. So thanks for that, Veronica. Appreciate the heads up there. So again, this is that accident that we were highlighting at the Vanier Parkway, and I'll zoom that in here. Let's just take a look at that and share that up on the screen. So that's this accident here at Vanier Parkway, just to the east of Lees and Nicholas. You can definitely see that we're looking at that camera there on the MTO side or Ottawa side, just showing the backup and the conditions too, obviously, because the visibility isn't that much fun for driving in this stuff. So, but again, once this moves out, if I zoom out here, you can just see how all that green is tucked to the south of Ottawa and is moving its way out of the region here. So, yeah, that's where things are at right now. And down by Kingston, that yellow is definitely moved out over the lake, that heavy precip. We do have a radar down there that I can use, actually. I'll take a look here. It's a little bit closer. That's Watertown radar, basically. on the US side, and you can see that there's quite a bit of heavy precipitation, but that's because it's over the lake, and being over the lake, it picks up that moisture and then obviously intensifies that particular precip. So a couple of updates coming out here from Environment Canada for the Ontario side, so I'm just going to take a look at that. I'll bring up the King City radar and we'll see what they're updating here. Updated 1 minute ago. Still the same thing, 2 to 5 centimeters. Wintry mix continues. Risk of freezing rain ending near noon. So that really hasn't changed. I guess they're just updating it, saying periods of freezing rain continue. That was updated 1 minute ago, and again ending near noon. So those are the two alerts that were updated. So nothing new to report from there. And we'll take a look back here at Franktown and the Eastern Ontario radar. Again, most of it is moving out of the area, so not a whole lot to show in regards to that in terms of any updates or changes at this point. Slowly but surely, the precipitation is just strolling through Eastern Ontario and going to exit stage right and make its way into New York, essentially. So, okay. The camera is perfect. The view is not. Yeah, it's coming from Mags. Yes, absolutely. So let me just check in here on some of my other cameras. The one in Carleton Place is or not Carleton Place. The one in Winchester's buried. I can't even see anything at this point. So Veronica, just out of Cardinal area, saying neighbor says roads in Kingston are horrible. She had a doctor's appointment this morning. So again, along that 401 area with this snow moving through, it's definitely affecting the driving. And again, slow down, not fun, but it's not going to last a long time. I'm going to pull up one of our weather cams here again. Still snowing in Carleton Place, pretty decent rate. Visibility still at a premium there. And if we compare it to our radar, I'm just going to pull it up just so folks can see where it's at. Because it's close to the radar, you can see here Carleton Place, there's not a lot showing, but that's because Franktown radar is very close to it. But Carleton Place is just on the edge of that precip finishing off. There are some bands kind of forming here from Barry's Bay to Almont, and then there's a few more kind of to the west of Carleton Place. But that's very isolated compared to what you see for the rest of Eastern Ontario. So that snow is definitely continuing, as you can see here live on our camera. Still some very big snowflakes falling past it. And I'm just going to take a look here in Nepean. Snow is still falling in Nepean, not as much. Visibility has definitely improved quite a bit as well. So this is kind of the 416 area, 417 Queensway, Carleton area hospital. That's what's out there. And then here at my place in Kempville, still snowing. Flakes aren't as big right now currently, but definitely still continuing to snow, and I'll probably have to lightly shovel my driveway. 5 centimeters or less is my guess based on what I'm visually seeing there. So that's how things are unfolding right now. Okay. Lake time just saying finally the snow is lightening up. I can see across the lake now. Obviously moving out of this area. Clayton, I believe, right down here. Oh no, that's Clayton, New York. What am I saying? You're back to the, wow, I gotta find it. Sometimes my radar doesn't pull it up. Give me a sec. I'll highlight it. But anyway, so sorry, lake time's in the Clayton area. So obviously the precipitation is tapering off, and then you're good to go from there. So Bonnie Mitchell asking, what's the blue on the fringe of the green? So that is just very, very light precipitation. So if I look up here at the top of my bar, and I'll bring it up full screen, you can kind of see from left to right when you get from light precipitation, which is like a gray, then it moves into a blue. Then you get into your green, which is, on the still on the light end of the scale. Then this kind of gets into your moderate, and then yellow, orange, and then red. You don't generally see the right side of this until you get into summertime, where we have very intense storms with hail possibly in them, that kind of stuff. So the blue is just the outer edge of that precipitation showing, and but that's extremely light compared to everything else that's happening, Bonnie. So thanks for asking that. And it's just showing, and so you had a follow-up question, clouds maybe, question mark. That's not, the radar doesn't show the clouds, it's showing what's falling or precipitation. Definitely clouds in the area, obviously. We can take a look, if I bring up satellite radar, this is our satellite imagery. Currently, Ottawa would be kind of in the middle of the screen, kind of middle left. And you can see as this system's moving through here, I'm gonna animate this and just get this running. So give me one quick second there. Obviously, from when it was dark, you can see how this is moving, kind of circling and moving eastward and southeastward as it's moving through. So that's the cycle on the radar of what you can see, covering Toronto, obviously up to North Bay, Sudbury. But you can see this is the cloud cover that's moving in and heading towards the east coast. Essentially. So good question, and I always enjoy answering that kind of stuff. 79 terra firma, is the freezing rain heading this way, or is it done after the snow? I don't expect any freezing rain for the Ottawa area, Eastern Ontario. The only place we had any chance of kind of mixed precipitation was down by the lakeshore from Kingston down to Cobourg. You can see it's like 1 degrees Celsius, and we have been looking at the cameras throughout the morning, and it has been showing mixed precipitation, and this is actually freezing rain, if I had to guess, just based on what's sticking to the surface of the camera. So you can see that it's not what you're experiencing in Eastern Ontario. So 79 terra firma, I know you're just, I think, south of Ottawa. I could be wrong on that, but no, it's just going to be snow for the most part for our region in terms of Eastern Ontario, where you're seeing this precipitation. I am not expecting any freezing rain up this way, and I can in fact switch over to another scan here. And this will show, so this is a scan I use sometimes just to show what is falling. So the previous scan shows you how intense the precipitation is. It doesn't tell you what's falling, it's just how heavy is it. This tells you, or it does its best to tell you, whether it's snow, freezing rain, rain. And so it's very easy to tell. Blue is obviously your snow. Your red here across the bottom is ice pellets, freezing rain, that mixing layer we call it. And you can see there's all sorts of different pixels as it's mixing through, and then your yellow is your rain. So that's a kind of a tool we can use if we're not 100% sure, what's falling in the area. We can kind of have the radar help us, but the cameras are really good for determining that as well. So that's why I like looking at the cameras. But that's another tool that's on the radar. That's called precipitation depiction or precipitation type. And again, this just shows how intense it's raining, snowing, whatever it is. This is just the intensity of it. So the bulk of the heavier precip is in New York right now, just coming off the lake. And then this is just moving out of Eastern Ontario over the last 3 hours. You can watch the loop here, and that'll show you what's going on. What else? Mag's saying anyone can run by and lightly shovel my driveway anytime. That goes for me too, if anybody's looking to volunteer. Clayton west of between Almont and Carleton Place. Yes, I just couldn't find it on the map. Thanks, Lake Time, for refreshing my memory. I just saw Clayton and immediately went for it, and I realized that was New York. So what else? Simone coming in. We were just on Highway 7 heading towards Maberly, and we had to turn around. Only vehicles on the road were transport trucks. So it sounds like Highway 7 in the bulk of this precipitation currently, that the conditions are not good. And we've looked at a few cameras there. I can zoom in on this one at Arden Road, so you can definitely see that quite snow covered here. That is at Arden. Let's just take a look. Caladar. down here to the west of Caladar. Very snow covered as well. That's 11:17, so that's about 11 minutes. But it looks like most of the precip has moved out of the area, but roads are obviously still going to be snow covered, because let me zoom out. You can see the snow is gone. There's no precip anymore, but roads still continue to obviously be snow covered till they get in, the road crews can get to them and get it taken care of. So it looks like a plow has gone through here at least once. You can kind of see on the left side of that there's been a plow down that one lane. And then that's the other view. I think there's a third camera here. Yes. So again, these are the road conditions you can expect: snow covered, slushy, until the crews get to them and make their way through the region. Obviously, a lot of roads to cover. But I appreciate, Simone, for you updating us on that. And what else is there? So you were saying towards Maberly we had to turn. Okay, I didn't know. It didn't say where you were coming from. I know I have a camera in Perth, but it's terrible. We'll take a look at this one here. I think this is the one oh no, this is Maberly. So significantly more snow covered here. Doesn't look like any plows have been through at this picture frame. So yeah, not fun travel conditions still there on Highway 7. So always good to get that update from folks. So thank you for that. The road had not been plowed when we were out, and yes, it's still showing that it's not plowed, so thank you for that, Simone. Hopefully crews get to that and are able to get it going later today, so that the afternoon commute is a lot better. Ghislain from Lefebvre, right around the Ottawa River area. More on the north end of the precipitation, so would be somewhere, I don't know. Oh, there it is. It actually shows up on the map. I'm surprised at that. So this is where Lefebvre is, just across from Montebello, saying 3 centimeters, just a powder coming down. And again, you are on the very northern end of that precipitation. So I'm really curious what my house, for example, here in Kemptville has, because I've been in the precipitation far heavier throughout this event for the last few hours. It's only been snowing here for maybe an hour and a half, roughly. But let me just take a look here back at my weather camera. Can't really tell, unfortunately, but it's definitely a lot whiter than it was this morning when I got up. So, and as you can see, it's still snowing enough that there's a decent accumulation happening there as well. So just see what happens. Go out and measure it later on after the stream. And give me a sec here. Okay. I'm checking one of my chats, just for anybody that's not aware, from my moderators. I just want to make sure I'm up to speed on everything. I literally have 4 screens here that I kind of interact with, so I'll always kind of bouncing around back and forth. So definitely a handful anyways, let's put it that way. What else is going on here? Just saying, come on, Tom, we've been on the map forever. You've been on the map forever. It's just my software that may not have you on the map forever. It doesn't always populate things, unfortunately, but yeah, I guess you guys have been there for a long time, so it's good that my software is keeping up. Okay. So I'm just trying to think. I'm just going to scan over here. I think, like I said, most of the precipitation has moved out. We can very clearly see it, that it's slowly transitioning out of the eastern Ontario area. Not much left happening to report on, but I'm going to take a look here just to look at roads, kind of give you guys an update on that. And if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. Obviously, you can see I try and answer them. So I appreciate the interaction with people in the chat, and there's never a dumb question. I love helping people out, understanding weather and radar, and what to look at, rather than some of the platforms that just try and make it seem like the end of the world when we get weather, which isn't the case. So okay, I'm going to share some roads here while we're at it. So this is down south of Ottawa, so you can see where the bulk of the precip has kind of made roads no fun. Obviously Highway 7 47 we've seen is not good. 43 coming out of Kempville and along there to Perth. 416, 401, a lot of slowdowns there. Highway 15 heading into Kingston. West on Highway 7, quite a few slowdowns, and then looks like we have the 401 east of Napanee. It's like a magnet for accidents. Let me see if I can find a camera to show you guys. But so it looks like in the westbound lanes east of Napanee, we do have a slowdown there. So I don't have a camera right in that area. I'm just going to pull this one up and see. I'll bring up road conditions. Sorry guys, 1 second. So that is, I'll bring it up full screen just so it's bigger. That is around the Napanee area. So you can see the roads are slushy. Still snow coming down, obviously, and visibility definitely at a premium. I do notice that it looks like there's no cars traveling on the other side. I don't know if that's just a glitch that there's one car right there that we happen not to see any traffic, but there's not a whole lot of traffic on the opposite side compared to the closest side to this camera. So I'm not sure if that's indicative of the accident that we were sharing with you guys. Again, westbound on the 401 down by the Napanee area. So let me just zoom back out here. Looks reasonable back towards the 401 towards Toronto again because it's warmed up probably, and the precip has mostly moved out of the region. Peterborough 115 looking a lot better than it was an hour ago. So yeah, you can clearly see on Google Maps where that snow is happening, and I'm just showing an update from Environment Canada, so I'm just going to zoom out here. Wow, that's okay. So for the whole let me bring it up. It's flashing here. So Environment Canada just updating this. I'm curious what they're going to put up here. Updated 1 minute ago. Snow heavy at times, so they're still saying that 5 to 10 centimeters. That part hasn't changed, 2 to 3 per hour, and ending later this afternoon, and they had it later into the day. So that's the part that's changed. And unfortunately, with these weather statements or any kind of warnings, they don't really tell you what's changed. You kind of have to remember. So they don't highlight what changes they've really made without, remembering what was there prior. So they're just saying it's ending sooner than they were showing in those weather statements, and we, obviously with the radar we can see that that's the case. Obviously this is going to end early afternoon. We're at 11:36 right now, so I don't expect this to take up too much longer in that regard. So just jumping in here. Okay. Let me see if I've got anything else to report. Okay, so our live weather cam in Nepean, I'm going to bring that up. Still a bit of snow, but very little at this point. So it looks like it's mostly over for the Ottawa area. And if you look here on the map, you can see that there's a little bit of green around the area, but it's very light. Everything's tucked into the south. So you can compare the camera when we look at Nepean versus me in the dark green area on the radar. You can see that it's snowing and accumulating, and visibility is at a premium. Kempville being smack dab in the middle there, sitting at -3. So that's the difference between just to the north here. That camera is located roughly where my hand is right here. So very light precipitation on radar. And then you come down to Kempville and it's obviously a decent amount more. So, but almost over for us. Carleton Place is probably just about to finish off with the precipitation soon as well. So most of the region going to be out of this snow in the next hour or so at this point. So let me just jump back into the chat here. Very educational, learning a lot, a great help. I'm glad to hear that. That's one of my biggest things I try and do with this platform, and Connor as well, is to help people understand weather rather than be fearful of it. The unknown is always that scary part. So we try and help people understand weather, whether it's through the radar or what's happening, to be able to tell folks. So glad to hear that's helpful. Terrible 401 stretch from Belleville to 416. It's notorious. Yes, Luna Bella coming in the comments there. What else is here? Just saying, folks, put a like on here. It helps push it on YouTube. Thanks for the great work again. Absolutely. Anybody, it's free to do. We helps get it out into the YouTube verse, as they say. Obviously not a big event today, so not a ton of people watching, but this is what we do, whether it's snow, freezing rain, come springtime, we have severe weather, so we report on winds, heavy rainfall, and obviously hail. We've had a number of hail events over the last few years that have impacted the region. Myself, even, I had my car impacted by hail about 3 years ago. Coming up this summer, it'll be 3 years, and it impacts daily life. So that's when we come on the live stream. We don't generally come on here to just say it's raining. People can look out their windows, that kind of thing. But if it's an event that's going to impact travel or daily life, we will definitely come on and try and help people through it, kind of thing. So what else? Still coming down steadily in Canada near the 417 at Eagleson exit. So that's from Susan Coles. Apologies. So yeah, there's probably a little bit isolated pockets here. You can still see that there's a bit of lighter green kind of tucked in certain areas. But again, you're at the very tail end of this as it moves through. And we'll pause that and bring it up here so I can kind of zoom out. You can see how heavy the snow was coming through the Ottawa area at 9:45 roughly in this window, and we've now moved on, and you can see the green has mostly disappeared out of the area and continues to do so. So in the next, I expect the precip to be out of Ontario into upstate New York in the next 40 minutes or so roughly, and maybe even quicker possibly. So what else have we got here? Canada North snow has tapered off a great deal. Light fall, but hardly noticeable. And again, thank you for confirming that. That's what we're seeing on the radar. So that's just, again, you're going to still have spotty areas of flurries because there is some trailing precipitation on the back end, but it's sporadic at best and not heavy at all compared to what's south, what you guys already went through essentially. Simone saying still coming down in Perth, and yeah, you're on the very edge of that green area. So if I zoom into Perth here, that's the latest scan here, and that scan came in at 11:35, so about 4 or 5 minutes ago, and so that's the latest one. And so you are just to your northwest. There's not a whole lot of precipitation left, and it's light at best, so you're just about out of it as well. I had a train of thought there, and now I've just lost it. I was going to comment on something as far as that's concerned, but I've forgotten what it is. So if it comes back, I will jump in and make the comment, but I can't remember. Mag's asking, need to know it's getting lighter here in Carlington near the experimental farm. Is it safe to do a Timmy's run? Absolutely. Like I said, the snow for the Ottawa area, essentially the vast majority is out of it. Nothing is going to be heavy per se. You do have a few isolated pockets of precip to the west of Ottawa, but again, these are tiny. There's a little bit here kind of north to Ottawa, west of Cantley, Quebec, but you can see that out by Castleman, that's kind of the edge of the meat of the precipitation, and then kind of south of this line here. So nothing major at this point for the Ottawa area. So it's definitely a good time to run to Timmy's for a coffee run. So yes. Okay, I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to see if there's any emails I need to jump on. So no, so far everything looks good. Okay, I think I'm going to slowly wind this down here unless there's some questions or anybody's got anything they need to know. What we've discussed, and I'll kind of reiterate it on here. Our bulk of our precip is tucked in here. Oh God, I went off the screen. Sorry. I have too many monitors. Give me one moment. I'm going to move this up a little further, zoom out, and let's do this. So bulk of our precipitation is in this area and kind of down this way. It is moving in this general direction. And that's kind of the end of it. There is no more precip all back tucked in here. This is the very edge of it, obviously down along the 401, less of it as well. So this is the end of the precip. Once this moves out of Eastern Ontario and upstate New York, we're done with it for the day. And then come tomorrow night, we may have something. I don't know if I'll be on the live stream, just to let you guys know. It may be an evening or overnight event, just working on timing, figuring that stuff out. So again, that would be tomorrow night into Sunday. That there's potential for some more weather coming through. So we will post on our Facebook page just any updates. And if we have a forecast video, it will be posted to YouTube, but it's also posted to our Facebook page. We're doing it in both spots. And I'm working on being able to live stream to Facebook as well. That is coming in the very near future. We're close to being able to do that. So that's another thing that's coming for the channel, is we're going to be pushing to both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So if you prefer to watch on Facebook, you will have that option in the very near future. So I'm going to just jump in here. See if there's any more questions, but I think essentially, like I said, for the most part, we're done with the heavier precip. It is still snowing at my house in Kempville, so I'll bring that up. So I'm still in this darker green area, and again, it is moving out, but I suspect in the next 20 minutes or so, I definitely am going to be at the end of it, because you could see that to the northwest there's not a whole lot of precipitation tucked back in there, so I'll be able to get my driveway cleared out after this is all said and done, and there's not much to do. I guarantee you there are going to be some neighbors that are just going to ignore it and not do it, which I'm on the fence of that. Just taking a look here into Nepean, so I'll bring that back up as well, so you can see basically no snow falling here anymore in the Nepean area, so that's the end of it. Visibility has come up drastically. Carleton Place, visibility has improved drastically there. Still some flurries falling, but not at the rate that it was earlier. So again, we look at radar, Carleton Place on the very edge of it to the left there. So just almost ending off there in Carleton Place, and Winchester is just buried. So I can see in the top left corner, it's still snowing on that weather camera, but obviously giant flakes stuck to the camera itself. Just one of those things, unfortunately. So again, we are developing more cameras that we're going to be putting out in the field, so we'll be able to cover a larger portion of the Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec area. For anybody that's interested in possibly hosting a camera, just send us an email. It's at the top of the screen, canadianweatherlive@gmail.com. And I'm just looking at a comment here. Sorry. So canadianweatherlive gmail.com. You can send us an email, and we'll chat whether it makes sense to put a camera up at your place. And we appreciate anybody who's willing to do so. It helps us out immensely, and it's a grassroots community thing. So again, we appreciate everybody who has helped out. So let's take a look. I'm just going to look through a couple other things here. I'll jump quickly back into the chat and then take it from there. So okay. Oh, a bunch of comments flew into here. Okay, Timmy's Run. Simone saying thank you for being here for us. We appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I always say that if I'm going to be chatting to myself, I don't know why I would be here. So it's awesome to see the people interacting, even on a kind of lower end scale event like today. Not a huge impact, long term. This is definitely a short term, smaller event. So always good to have that interaction. Dave Langlois saying still snowing in downtown Ottawa. I suspect it's very light, but yes, it will be snowing for a little while longer. Again, you can look on the screen. The very edge of the precip is up to, low Quebec, but it's very light compared to what it is down here south of Ottawa. So just you are going to have sporadic snow showers here and there, but it is going to be very light at this point. What else? Thank you all, and happy spring coming from Luna Bella. Great team from Ghislain. Thank you. Very much appreciated. I agree. Okay, and the skiers and the snowboarders are definitely going to be happy with this up, obviously, Mont Saint Marie and those areas. Still lots of winter left up there for skiing for sure, I would think. So, Dale Curry, hey Tom, thanks for the damn snow. Have a great weekend. Dale is our host of our Carlton Place camera, so good to see you, Dale, on the stream as always. Yes, definitely. Mother Nature having a sense of humor today, so definitely not what you want when it's the official first day of spring, as they say. What else? Just joined from Alexandria. Tell me we are hitting 30 today. I was almost going to say 30 centimeters, but no. You're pretty good. Alexandria is going to get a bit of snow. You're on the lighter end of it. You'll probably end up with 3 centimeters, maybe roughly, but you're almost out of it as well at this point in the Alexandria area. So the show is basically mostly over. Again, our precip is tucked in kind of. I'm just trying to drag it here. You can see how it's kind of moved through the region over the last couple of hours, and then it's just tapering off. Kempville and Winchester up here have the heaviest precip happening, and then if you look south of Smith Falls, north of Kingston, so in this pocket here is the other area of heavier precip, but over the next 30 to 45 minutes, that's all out of Eastern Ontario other than trace snowfall. So Luna Bella saying, I'm not going to shovel until tomorrow. So there, absolutely. So a lot of people are, just doing the ignore it kind of thing. And I don't blame you. I mean, Ottawa area, we are supposed to get somewhere around 5 degrees. So if you only got a couple of centimeters, that's going to melt more than likely. So you won't have to do anything. Susan Coles, thanks. Really finding these helpful with you and Connor. Awesome. Love hearing that. I'm glad that people find this informative and useful. What else? Power and Wi-Fi ready for camera coming from Ghislain. So that's awesome, Ghislain. I will email you later on. I saw some emails coming in. Ghislain is talking about having one of our weather cams hosted up here. Where am I? Sorry, Montebello. There we go. Up here by the river. So we'll have another camera up in that area that we can monitor storms as they come down the Ottawa River, which happens fairly often in the summertime, that moisture pooling there. So awesome to have that. So good to hear that, Ghislain. Appreciate that. Again, I will be in touch. So thank you to my moderators as always. Appreciate everybody. Rick as well for helping out from Perth, always giving us drone footage and stuff like that. So keeping us up to date on accidents, so on and so forth. So at this point, I'm probably going to just call the stream and then again, keep a notice on our pages. We will be looking at the forecast for Saturday into Sunday. That's definitely the next one on the radar for us in terms of weather coming out this way. So Tizzy asking for a Castleman snowfall total guess. I would say 3 centimeters, maybe. It depends. Let me look at the loop here. Just to see what Castleman got, but I don't think it's going to be a ton. Yeah, even 3 centimeters might be a bit much, but somewhere in that neighborhood, 3 centimeters, less than 5 for the Castleman area at this point. So what else? Leos question, best personal weather station. I have Accurate, but need to go through internet to keep long stats. Any info? So I'm trying to remember the name of mine. Mine's not a very expensive one. It's been good. Mine's connected. So mine connects to Weather Underground, where you can monitor long-term stats. The same idea as what you're talking about. There are some higher end ones out there that I haven't tested, so I don't want to recommend them. But I mean, Accurate's a reasonable one, I would say, unless you're looking to get very technical. I would say that's right in the wheelhouse for the average person in terms of what you have for a weather station. Logia, that's the one of mine. It's Logia. That's the weather station I have. It's a competitor to the Accurate. I've had it for oh God, 6-7 years. It's been great. And it reports so that I can look in and I can even remotely check it, that kind of thing. So hopefully that answers your question without spending a lot of money. There's some very expensive high-end ones, but you're talking $500 and up. That's unless you're really into weather. I don't see a lot of people buying that, but they are out there as well. So what else is going on? 6 months of winter, 6 months of bad skiing. I love Canada. Coming from Luna. Hello, Giselle coming in here. Hello, happy first day of spring. Yes, Mother Nature's laughing at us. What else? Thank you for the guest coming from Tizzy. Ruby coming in. I just came in from shoveling off my deck. I'm near County Road 21 and 22, over 5 centimeters already and still coming down heavy. So some of these areas are definitely getting pockets of more than 5 centimeters. And I suspect you're, anybody south of Ottawa. So if you're, let me draw it out here. Our cutoff for the heavier or the larger snow amounts are going to be south of this line. Anything north of there is going to be very light at best, not a whole lot of precipitation. So thanks for the update there, Ruby. And again, our precip is mostly out of Eastern Ontario, just about heading into upstate New York over the next half an hour to 40 minutes was kind of my speculation. We haven't had an update here in a bit. I'm going to wait for the next scan, and then again, we'll pull the stream here and then revisit probably on Saturday. I might do a Saturday night stream if the potential is there for a lot of freezing rain. Then I tend to go on. If it's just going to be snow overnight, then it's not something I'll probably, because obviously a lot less people on the road. Commuting is a lot less popular in terms of overnight. So again, we will see what happens, but monitor our page on the Facebook side of things. And if we do put a forecast video up, it'll be here as well. What else is going on? Ruby saying I'm 6 kilometers east of 416 Spencerville exit. So thank you for that. So definitely still getting some more snow for a while. There's Spencerville. Oh, there we go. You're right here near Shanley, obviously. Yeah, still a bit of little snow coming down here in Kemptville as well. I'll bring up my weather cam here in Kemptville. It's still snowing here, but again, in the next little bit, this is going to cut off drastically, get reduced, because if you look at the radar, Kemptville is on that very edge of the green, still sitting at that -3. So I bet you I'll end up with probably 5 centimeters, maybe a little bit more than that by the time this is all said and done. So again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Asking, how do you send anonymous money, having problems with it? Well, you can, so the easiest way, I don't know about anonymous. I don't know how you can do that. There's a tip feature on YouTube, but the easiest way is if you're in Canada, Interac E-Transfer, our email address is at the top, canadianweatherlive@gmail. I believe you can send it from a cell phone as well. So if you want any donations, greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. It helps us to develop that camera network that we're really working hard on. So if you do want to donate, Interact is one of the easiest ways to do it. It's pretty straightforward if you've already got that set up for your banking, and that's why we have that ability. But again, the easiest thing you guys can do for us is definitely hit the share button and like and subscribe. That's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps us out a lot. So again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, moderators. I appreciate everybody being in here, and we will catch you possibly on Saturday if that event has the potential for freezing rain for the region. And again, it's kind of tracking along the same route as what we have right now today. So we'll see whether that continues to be the case over the next 48 hours before it arrives. So again, thank you. Love the interaction. Appreciate everybody on the channel, and we will catch you on the next live stream.